We are Legion.
What is going on, Comic Legion? Welcome to the Sunday night show at Week's End. This is like episode 31, 30. It's one of those two. It's 30 or 31. But good news, it was a huge week of comics. We had the finale of Invincible Season 1. We're going to get into all of that. And you're in the right place because fandom happens here. Don't go anywhere. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, as well as the Comic Vet and New Guy Ryan's channel over there. I do have a 700 subscriber giveaway going on right now. It's open for entries until Wednesday night at roughly 9 p.m. I mean, you can enter all the way up into the point of me spinning the randomizer. So get in where you fit in. There's must-read books, there's key books, there's CGC books, and at this moment, I think last time I looked, I'm like 8 subs away from adding a prize to it. As well as there's some extra people that have reached out and said that they would like to donate prizes as well. So there'll be huge prizes given away and a lot of stuff added that I'm not going to announce or advertise. That way people that frequent the channel get a first shot at them, that are already going to be there anyways. So there'll be some other people on with me Wednesday night with some prizes as well, giving them away. So good stuff there. How are you guys doing tonight?
Well, it's been a night. Well, in honor of your stranglehold,
man.
Yeah.
By one, that's how you counted.
Well, in honor of you,
I'm not counting that other one.
In honor of you knowing that Bob Kane and Bill Finger created Batman, I'm rocking this sweet shirt in all your glory.
And
so I guess tonight we're
in DC.
Yeah,
Howard the Duck is located in Cleveland.
Yeah, and that. Yeah.
Kudos
to you, sir. Kudos to you. And
everybody in the chat didn't see, Chris and myself were just the contestants on Slotted Up 503's channel. He does the game show Rigged every other week at 7:30 Eastern time, and we had a blast doing it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Like all joking aside, like Jason brought the heat with questions, man. Like
I even saw Biggie comment in the chat early on and says, "Dude, these questions are harder than last week's."
Yeah, but we did pretty well, man. Like yeah. But I'm well. How are you, Ryan?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I enjoyed your sweet game of rigged there. It was very rigged, but. But yeah, I've been having a good time. I enjoyed watching that. It's been a pretty good week overall, all things said.
Well, let's say hey to the chat real quick. See what we have in here. We have 16 people watching. First up, we got Marty. What is going on? Cheers to the rig champion tonight. Lucretius 1971, my man from New Mexico. How are you? Austin LeMay, how are you doing today, sir? That stays in the tank. Austin LeMay here. We got to point out that hashtag Austin over Peach.
Yeah.
All day.
It's true.
And we got Slotted Up himself in the chat. What's going on, man? The one, the only Martian Runner. What is going on? We've got the comic writer himself, Specs, in the chat with us. He's got an awesome book, Legacy of the View. I think he just started or is about to start the Kickstarter for issue 3. You can check out Legacy of the View on Instagram. You get updated on that and check it out. It's great stuff. Gary B, how's it going? We got Captain's Comics. How are you? Ahoy. We got Paul Rogers. What is going on, man? Tomorrow Cinemas himself. Station, brother. Travis, how are you tonight? Was that Anachronic Comics? Couple of doubles. Chat jump. Okay, so hello to everyone. Sold Twice, my man, another awesome artist you can find on Instagram.
Jennifer, he was just on Jason's channel.
He was, yeah.
Southern Comic Geek. That's his name.
We got to go back and watch the rewind for that because Panda was doing his 500 subscriber giveaway, and I was running around with the kids as well. Comicade, what is going on, brother? Another person with an awesome channel. Warlord, how are you doing? Rami Salami, my man, how are you? Cheers. And Dale's of Suspense is in here. We got Dan Eckery in the house. Hope everyone is doing good tonight.
What up?
What's new with you guys this week before we start breaking down these comics? Anything going on? Any crazy comic news? I think it's been a pretty quiet week, from what I know.
Well, I feel like there had to be something, right? Wasn't there? What
There's
did we
supposed
talk
to be.
about the Falcon Captain America 4 news?
No, I don't think so.
That drop? That dropped last week, right? But I don't think
Yeah,
we
I think
actually
like an
talked about
hour
it.
after the finale dropped because people were mad.
Yeah, I think that's more of what we talked about is how stupid it is that they dropped it at the same time that they 2 or 3 hours after the episode dropped,
Mhm.
stating that episode drops at 3 o'clock in the morning. So how stupid is it that they turn around at 6 o'clock in the morning and drop news like that? They're Marvel. They know it's a big deal. They could have at least waited till Monday and they would have got just as much attention. So I don't understand why they let that information out when they did. They should have given everybody at least a weekend to watch it,
Or at least a full day, like get through a business day.
Yeah. I just thought that was kind of I don't know, bad optics from Marvel on that. You should have held that a little tighter lipped for at least another 72 hours,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they did give us a Shang-Chi trailer. They could have
yeah.
They could have teased the Eternals a little bit instead of going down, Captain America / Falcon Winter Soldier news. But yeah, I agree with you guys that way.
That was a weird direction to hype up something that's currently hyped up instead of saving that for the next week to continue the hype, maybe.
Yeah, they could have built new hype so that as one goes away, the next one's already getting started. But instead, they decided to double down.
But yeah,
and I think it also got a lot of attention because that writer-director guy said we only know about half of the projects that are in development right now. So now everybody's like, oh, well, what else are they working on? I get so frustrated with the Marvel spec hype train thing. Just let them develop something. Why do you got to be all up in it from day one?
I know it moves books in that secondary market though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no one's business. No one's big business. Did you guys see the Contessa first appearance? The value of her first appearance, I believe, was a Marvel Tales book. The character that Julia Louis-Dreyfus played in Falcon Winter Soldier. Man, that thing went right through the roof. That was like a like a $20 book on a good day. No one's out forecasting the first appearance of Contessa. I'm sorry, I'm missing her second and third name. But I'm sure everyone realized. I'm sure everyone knows who I'm speaking about. And all of a sudden, that's now like a $200 book. And then what? 2 weeks from now, it'll be a $50 book, and it'll probably hang around there until we see Elaine from Seinfeld show up again. Who actually, I thought she actually did a pretty good job for the cameos that she was on the show.
And it was they did drop those 3 set photos from the Miss Marvel show. What is her name? Kamala.
Yes, Kamala Khan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Once again, didn't really need.
Yeah, she looked pretty cool, but it's just a character I care nothing about.
Brian, do you know where that actress is from?
No.
No.
Oh God, he took a sip of the drink. It has to be Canada.
Yes. Ms. Marvel and Shang-Chi are both Canadian. Yeah.
Boom. That's a good one. There we go. Thank you, Vincent.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
With the dude from American Horror Story. Now, if they this is petty, but if you give him the red hair, you don't have to give him the bowl cut. I'd appreciate the bowl cut, but if you don't give him the red hair, dude, awesome. That dude already has attitude like in every character he plays in American Horror Story.
Yep.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. They totally need to give him that Pete Rose haircut, though. Let's be honest. But,
A sport reference I get. There's not many.
I understood that reference.
Now, I will say, the Guy Gardner news, that's kind of interesting because DC has some work to do to get back into good graces, I guess is the best way to put it. Obviously they've done a little bit better lately, but there's a sense of I don't think everybody is I'm going to go watch every DC thing that comes out right now. Not yet, at least. But with Marvel, I do not understand when people are freaking out. Oh my God, we got this Shang-Chi trailer. You weren't not going to watch that movie. This trailer is not about to sell you on if you're going to watch it or not. So, like,
No.
why are you so excited about it? Like,
Yes.
it's not a selling point. I don't understand what people are so excited over. You're just watching scenes from the movie that you're going to go see in a few months, but now you've already seen the scenes, so they're not going to be as fresh and fun.
Yeah, that's true. Now I think that with the Shang-Chi trailer, I think they didn't really show
We all
us
did, man.
anything.
We all did. Yeah.
Yeah, especially me and Ryan. But I think with the Shang-Chi trailer, that was like a legitimate teaser trailer, and I'm reluctant to watch any more trailers for it, but I probably will. But there was like one scene in the trailer where like I'd have to go back and rewatch it, where they're in some like I don't know temple or on beside a cliff setting or something, but you could tell there's some of that like what you expect out of kung fu fighting wire work for a split second there, when the rest of the trailer seemed really grounded. So I think that movie is going to be completely off the chain. It's going to be awesome. It's going to, for like so many superhero stuff, I think it'll be a breath of fresh air. Of course, there's like supernatural elements to it and whatnot, but it'll still be a cool change of direction. I'm excited for it.
I will say, like, I haven't seen the trailer, so I don't know any of that, but I am kind of excited for Shang-Chi because I really liked Doctor Strange. I thought it was a great Marvel movie. I liked how different it felt from all the other stuff. I love how genius the ending was. And I thought that movie's like very underrated by a lot of people. And Shang-Chi is something that, having not seen any of the trailers or anything, I already get like kind of similar vibes where we're kind of going to get into a similar world to that. And so that has me excited. I mean, I think that's an area of the Marvel universe that I've wanted more of since Doctor Strange. And a lot of people are like, oh, no, I don't care. I just want him to show up in the Avengers stuff. I'm like, no, I want to go back to that world. Like, that was cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing about Doctor Strange, the film itself, I could say is of all the Marvel movies, that one I find has the most character development in an origin movie, because he starts off as a complete brash jerk,
Douchebag.
and then like
Yeah.
he hits an incredible rock bottom, and he doesn't bounce back right away. Like, it's a slow build for him to become who he eventually is. And I'm so glad that Doctor Strange was introduced as a character, because those of us who read the Marvel universe, for many, many years, understands that most collective stories that Marvel puts out, they all work around the fact that Doctor Strange is who he is. And if there's no Doctor Strange, half the stories that we get wouldn't be as good. So I'm glad that A, they didn't ruin the character, B, they went out and got themselves a good actor to play him, and C, they're using him the correct way. And the Multiverse of Madness, for me, is the movie that I'm looking forward to the most of all the upcoming MCU films.
Yeah,
Just
I would
because of
agree with
Doctor
that.
Strange. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably tops my Marvel anticipation. Like, as much as I want to see Black Widow get her own movie and make her own role and stuff, and I want to be like super feminist, at the same time, like, I'm just not really that excited about the Black Widow movie. And I don't know why, but I mean, honestly, the best thing about that movie is it's going to have David Harbour. So that's exciting.
And God willing, the possibility of Omega Red, because I'm sick and tired of all the Omega Red spec.
I wish they would just drop him and Mephisto already,
just
so people would stop like specking on him.
like I love the villain, but we heard stories that he may show up in Falcon Winter Soldier, that he may be in Shang-Chi as well. But basically we all know we're going to get him in the Black Widow.
Well, we'll see. I mean, they got to have something that we haven't seen in the trailer, right?
Right.
Like,
for sure. It's just not going to be Taskmaster. Yeah.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of subplots going on that we probably haven't even seen.
Oh, yeah,
we can only pray, Vincent, that Darkhawk is coming.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Tyler here, he's like, yeah, they really ruined stuff with these trailers. Like, that's my whole thing. Like, you guys have heard how excited I am for James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Haven't seen a trailer, haven't seen a set image, haven't seen nothing. I have seen nothing about that movie. I only watch trailers for movies that I am on the fence about or I think are going to be bad. I do not, ever since Justice League or Batman, Superman ruined every single aspect of that movie in the trailers, I have not watched a trailer for anything that I'm excited to see.
That's tough. That takes self-control.
It's not that hard. I just don't click links like that.
Yeah,
I quit reading previews too because comics are the worst for just like putting the story in the preview blurb. I'm like, nah, pass.
But yeah, Mephisto, that could be the biggest letdown spec of this new year. Like, let's be
People
honest. Like,
riot.
oh man, like the spec on Mephisto was through the roof. And when he didn't show up, I actually felt bad for the people that were predicting it. Went out and bought multiple copies of Silver Surfer. You know, like God bless them. It's a book that will never really go down in value. Like, let's be honest. But man, that book went through a tidal wave of rising, and with no Mephisto showing up, and I don't think we're going to see him until the next Doctor Strange film, if we do. And so, yeah, that's right. Mephisto and Omega Red should be just chilling in a cafe.
Not in the slightest, man.
I don't know about you, but I make the shirt look good.
I know, right? Yeah, who was oh man. Man, there was an artist I was just watching on somebody's YouTube channel earlier. Not even an artist, he was a collector. Man. Anyway, yeah, he was saying they asked him about like the spec market and stuff, you know, and his thing was like all of my like gold and silver age stuff, like that's all gonna be fine, you know. If the market crashes, it's gonna be all these moderns and all the crazy spec on that. And I'm like, yeah, and I just think back to that, like how many of these books just came out within the last couple of years and were pretty much worthless, and overnight they became worth so much, you know? Like all of that stuff's eventually got to crash. There's just no way it keeps going up. I'm the cool guy.
If you like, it's kind of putting into just like some kind of historical perspective, you know, like Westerns were popular for so long when that was like the pinnacle of entertainment. When putting someone on a fast moving animal, doing like stunt work like that, it just kept people's attention for so long. Then as special effects improved, like sci-fi became more popular and everything. And then as special effects improved more, now we're in like the superhero era. And then like, I mean, what's like, when are people's attention, like the overall attention is just going to be lost for superhero stuff, and they're just going to like move on to the next thing, and then you won't have as many people inside of this specific collectible hobby, and that's where it goes. Then the people who were in it before this that are going to be the people afterwards, and then the people that came in during it that decide to stay, they're going to be not caring about the modern stuff as much because it'll be so much more easy accessible. Just a crazy amount of people that are inside of it right now.
Yeah. It's going to be, I don't know, like, it's hard to say that though, because like we've kind of seen the depth of genre, you know, like that's where Marvel like really played it smart. Like they kept making,
Wow.
You know, like I think Marvel was doing superhero movies and people were getting burnt out on it, you know? And so then they went and they did Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and they said, no, now we're just going to do like genre movies that have superheroes in them, you know? And I think they really refreshed everybody's interest at that point. And I think that gave them more ability to diversify. And so if you want sci-fi, they have it. If you want a Western, they can do that. If you want this, they can do that, you know? And so I think it actually gives them more longevity in the long haul.
You're right, because the more serious comic book fans, when they look at the most recent Marvel movies, generally speaking, the Winter Soldier, Captain America 2 is in their top 3, you know, around the table. You may change out 1, 2, or 3, but the Winter Soldier, that film is always there. And yeah, the Russo brothers, with their introduction to comic book movies, they hit a home run. Like, never mind the fact that they had Robert Redford in there as well. Like, quite the coup there. But it was just an excellent movie all the way around. So yeah, you're absolutely right. And yeah, I can remember, Mark, you just mentioned talking about Westerns and how that was, you know, when television was in its infancy and a lot of people fell in love with the American cowboy set in the Western times, whatever. My late father, who who started reading comic books in the mid to late 50s, that was exclusively what he was reading. He loved the American Westerns, especially the ones that were adapted from television, like Hopalong Cassidy. And then he slowly got into like the Texas Rangers, was it? And then he started, once Marvel came around, they had Kid Cole Outlaw. He was reading a lot of that stuff too, right up until the late 60s and 70s when he stopped reading for a period in his life. So yeah, I would totally agree. It was Westerns all the way along for a while. And then like the spy game kind of showed up for a little bit. And then the sci-fi of the 70s definitely took over with stuff
My
set in
dad just
space.
finished his vigilante run, like the old Western character.
Yep.
I don't know. Oh, it smells the sanitizer. It's delicious.
Yes. My hands get.
Disgusting.
I was gonna say, my hands get more alcohol than my mouth does these days.
Gross. All right. I'll be right back. I gotta go.
All right. Chris, you got your books handy? You want to show off some books you picked up this week?
All right. My wallet is still very upset with me. For those that watched my new comic book day video, I ripped through this bad boy. Mark's hot pick on Two Cool Guys, two hot picks last week was Beta Ray Bill, and it delivered. Teen Titans Academy. For those that read this, enjoyed it, well, you're going to be spending money this Wednesday on Suicide Squad. This fire cover, Detective Comics 1035. That was a fun read and a good backup story. This was a great sequel. This is an excellent number 2 in my opinion.
Is that the foil?
That is, that's the foil, and the other foil version were the only ones that showed up at my LCS not damaged. So that's the reason why I picked it up.
It's still a good cover, though. That was a good pick.
Yeah. I picked this up. I haven't had the opportunity to read it, and I actually haven't heard good or bad about it yet. Black and white.
Oh, wow. That's a cool cover. Let me see that one again.
Yep. This is the Brian Boland, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Of the Killing Joke fame.
Yeah, it's wicked. Is that the Riddler's hat underneath him?
It's the Riddler's hat underneath him. Yes, it is. But it is the Riddler. Yeah. It's stacks of cash. Speaking of Black Widow 6, Miles 25. This banger. A book that I haven't opened up yet, but I'm looking forward to it. The final copy of Erratic in its limited series.
You've been saying that's been delivering, right?
Yeah. It's a close take on Spider-Man, but Corey Andrews did do a Spider-Man miniseries about 10 years ago. So I'm not that surprised that Corey Andrews is Erratic is loosely like Peter's story. Savage Dragon. I can spoil, right?
Oh yeah,
and
dude, that was so fun.
And the book that Mark and I were talking about backstage, Spawn.
Solid nonstop action.
So this, as you can see, I spent a lot of money, and honestly, I'm pretty pleased with my results so far. What did you get, brother?
All right, let's switch on over. Let me see what Vincent says real quick. Y'all in your new comic book day hauls. I'm just over here grabbing on books out the pull list and spending hella claims on single key books. Yeah, I'm still getting those keys as well, man. But I can't sacrifice reading for keys. My whole thing is I'm going to continue reading, when keys make themselves accessible and inside of what I do. That's when I pick them up.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't knock the idea of key hunting. I go through spurts. I might be reading more heavy this month than I will 2 months from now, and be putting money away because I get a bug and I just have to go ahead and pick something up, and I start looking for it. But
the best is when a key falls into your lap for a good price.
And it happens more than you think. Like,
yep.
Especially,
yep.
Yeah, it happens.
Like Daredevil 181 for me a couple weeks ago just fell into my lap at a great price.
So I'd stopped picking up Spawn, and like the month before they announced Spawn's universe. So I went back and grabbed some Spawn issues and actually read them all today and got caught up. So I got 314, 315, 316, and this week's 317.
It's a great cover.
Which perfectly like grabbing those four. That was the Omega Spawn story arc. So it was like I read like a full story arc today. It was great. I just read it in one sitting. Got the Marvels #1, that Alex Ross cover. I'm not sure if I'm going to read this. I wasn't planning on picking it up. It got tossed in my box just in case I wanted it. My pops grabbed my books for me this week while I was at work. I don't expect it to be good. It's just a random Marvel anthology. Like I was picking up Marvels that they were doing and Marvel X and the Marvel or just Marvels. There's been so many of these little things, but I went ahead for Stephen Ryan's sake.
I was going to say, Mark, the good news about that book is Alex Ross is on the cover. The bad news is Alex Ross is not on the interior. So
yeah. So I got that second print of Nightwing issue 78.
Very nice.
Picked up 79, read those. Yep. Definitely solid. The New Department of Truth, solid. What is good? Comic Man Andy is in the house. How are you doing tonight? I got that Batman and Robin 17, another just absolute fun read, just super fun, total Elseworlds thing going on. I got that Robin #1 by Joshua Williamson and that 1 in 25 with Flatline on the cover.
Very nice.
I finally read this. I was like a week behind on that. It was straight. It's not Mighty Morphin, but it was straight. Crossover for #6, the dome-shattering conclusion to Kids Loves Change. Donny Cates is done with the title for now. Chip Zdarsky picks it up from there, but definitely the total fan service we've been waiting on. Teen Titans Academy #2. Berserker #2.
Yes, sir.
Detective Comics 1035 with the Huntress backup story in it.
Loved it.
This is whatever, if you like Batman and you're picking up the Batman title and you're underwhelmed, you have no excuse because this has been, still is, and most likely will remain to be the most consistently good Batman title on a shelf every month. And just because it's called Detective Comics, not Batman, you're throwing your money in the wrong direction. That's just me.
And those Bermeo covers have been fire on the B's.
They're also $1 extra. So I mean, stick with the A covers. when you go too many B covers with a stack this thick, that adds up to like $4.
Yeah.
That Beta Ray Bill, super awesome. And my read of the week by far, Action Comics 1030. This was the most solid Superman story I have read, and I do not know how long. Like, it was absolutely amazing. And then
He's finally got a good writer. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, look at one of those are going to be making their way to Canada.
Oh, Canada. I'll wrap them in something warm.
Okay, I'm back. And I agree. All I heard was the very last thing you guys said, and I agree 100%. Action Comics was by far the best book I read this week, and that's not because of a lack of quality across the board.
Sure wasn't.
Like,
what else did you?
To take that crown is just like insane. That book was so good,
especially to take it during this week with so many solid titles. But what all did you pick up? Go through your list of what you read real quick, and we'll start breaking these down.
Okay.
Every time you say Canada, Travis starts singing.
Oh, Canada. That's like literally all Americans know about Canada.
Flo Dameron, that 2-page spread was that would have been the moment of the week for this week in comics, and we're going to get all of in that 2-page spread because I do not know how many people actually caught all the Easter eggs that are inside of that, but I cannot wait to talk that. But it is riddled with Marvel Easter eggs as well as Daniel Warren Johnson Easter eggs. And I don't know how he got some of that past editorial. He's probably looking at a lawsuit.
Well, when that series pays off, I doubt it'll matter too much. Boom.
Yes. Yes.
This book has so many X's in it. It's great. I'm not complaining. It's just they could pull back on the X's a little bit. Read of the week. What? This book slayed. Oh
That's
my God, it was so good.
That's a great Superman cover. Like, just great.
This one and the variant for the last one, was it Superman that I grabbed?
Yeah, the Inhuck Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my, those covers are just generations of amazing. Boom. Teen Titans Academy was great. On the other hand, there's this book. Like, I'm not going to spend a ton of time complaining about this book. Here's what I will say, though. There is not an establishing shot on, like, any page in this book. Like, there's literally, it's about, like, kind of like D&D style world, you know? So they're all, like, race class characters, and they're, like, on an adventure. And there's literally a scene where, like, they're all, like, standing around talking, and you flip the page, and they're all standing around talking, but the background has changed. At first, they're in, like, a castle, like, is kind of the background behind them. The next page, they're all standing there. It's wood, like a wooden hut behind them, and there's a new character in a bed, like a hospital-style bed, in between them all. And I'm like flipping the back and forth, like what just happened? Like, I don't understand, you know? And it's stuff like that. There's not an establishing shot in the whole book. Like, the backgrounds just change a lot. And it was like, what is going on here? It's all over the place. At some point they like meet up with like Mexican natives, you know, like Mayans, and there's like Mayan gods getting involved. There's no transition though. Like, on one page they're like in medieval Europe, and then you flip the page and it's just like Mexican gods and stuff all of a sudden. You're like, how did we get here?
Was this the
They
first
don't bother
issue?
explaining it. Yeah. It's a Image #1, and this is something maybe somebody else knows better. I thought Top Cow was a separate publisher, but it's an Image #1.
Isn't Top Cow Silvestri's private studio, and he uses Image as his publisher that way? I guess
It's like
because
Maybe.
Skybound is Kirkman's. Anything
Right.
Kirkman writes for Image is under Skybound.
right. So
Okay.
they just use Image as their publishing company now.
Okay, that makes a little more sense. But yeah,
Yeah.
because it was an Image #1, it was kind of on my radar, and then there was like this weird hype building about it as it was getting closer and closer, and I was like, okay, well, let me check it out, because fantasy's not really my thing, but sometimes like D&D natured stuff, like, I can get into. And this one, it even has like a D&D campaign at the end of the book that you can run, but it was just like, I couldn't get into it. It was too much mixing of like this like native Mexican culture and like lore with like fantasy stuff. And again, there was no establishing shot, so like it felt like every scene was just somewhere else for no reason, you know. So I think I'm gonna pass on any more of that book. I haven't got to read any of Shadow Man, but I'm a huge Cullen Bunn fan, especially in the Valiant universe. He does an amazing job there. Jordi Belair on colors, like that alone sells a book. And I really like Shadow Man, so I'm excited to see what Cullen Bunn does with them in this run. Bitterroot #12, like, #11 was a little weird because it was kind of like reestablishing and getting us back into the characters and stuff. So it was kind of like just like real slow, you know, and a lot of recap. But #12 here was fire. I really enjoyed it. It was so good. And I'm interested to see where they take it from here, because Barzak is like getting crazier in every arc. And then Department of Truth #8. This book was great. I really like this cover, and I like Martin Simmons' artwork. So it was either this or the A cover on this, and I went ahead and went with this variant. Like I think I said yesterday or whatever, like the Scotty Young variant looks cool as like a piece of art, but it's just like so out of place for that world that I couldn't really. It didn't sell me, you know.
Yeah.
And then I think this is the last one I grabbed, but Beta Ray Bill #2, which, like you said, we're gonna get into that.
All right, let's talk about that bar scene.
Are you reading? Did you read Thor, Chris?
Did Thor? Yeah, I've been reading Thor. Did Thor come out this week and miss it?
No. But
okay.
the bar scene, like that, kind of ties into what happened in Thor.
Right.
What was the last one? 13 or something? 12? 11? I don't even remember.
Yeah, I think it's 12. Yeah.
12.
The end of the Donald Blake storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and to me, like, that was kind of weird. I feel like the whole Thor universe, like, we're still getting like these itty bitty inklings of when the publishing stuff got mixed up because of COVID or something.
Yeah.
Because like the way that Thor like ended with the Black Winter, like all of that stuff felt really chopped up and messy. And then when you get here, like in Thor, Jane Foster, she knows where Odin is, but there's literally no reason she should. Nobody should. And I feel like if Beta Ray Bill, if this book had dropped before that, then it would have made a little more sense, because we would have been like, oh, the dead guy knows where he is because he's dead and from a different plane of existence and stuff. So he knows where he is. And that gives us at least enough connective tissue to draw the logic to how Jane Foster could have found out he was there. But it seemed very weird that like she kicks in the door and just like automatically knows where he is, and none of the audience had any clue, you know? So feels like there's a little bit of disjointedness because of COVID publishing or something in this universe.
Well, I'm not reading Thor, so it was smooth for me. Scourge knew. But yeah, I cannot relate with you on that one, Comic Man Andy. He said it was pretty relatable for him. I don't again, I don't read Thor, but in Daniel Warren Johnson I trust. And I don't pick up a ton of Marvel stuff, but if Daniel Warren Johnson's writing something, I know it's going to be up that kind of storytelling alley. You know, in Beta Ray Bill, Thor, I mean, I love those characters. There's just not a lot going on in main continuity that I really care to follow. But with him writing it, it doesn't matter what's going on in the bigger continuity. I know it's about to be like a very personal story that is going to be end up being relatable for pretty much any reader. It's going to touch on something that is personal to everyone somehow, because that's how he kind of writes stuff, and it's really impressive. And by the end of this, like there can't be anybody out there who hasn't felt the way that the leads of this book felt, at least for a moment in your life. I know a lot of people that deal with it for a long time, but just being uncomfortable in your skin and wanting to feel on the outside the way you do on the inside. What a solid concept to build a story around. And you couldn't find a better character right now in Marvel to do that with, like somebody who he just checks all the boxes. So they're definitely
and go to the depths of hell just to change, your exterior because you're not liking what's in the mirror. But yeah, normally I agree with Comic Man Andy and almost all his takes. I'm a faithful watcher of his work, but I'm sorry, my man. I'm with Mark and Ryan on this one. I'm thoroughly enjoying Beta Ray Bill, but yeah, no disrespect, Andy. Like Andy turned me on to Saga, so I'll be honest that way. But yeah, but how cool it was right off the bat. We're seeing Bill like practice ping pong, like it's just like it's so lighthearted at moments, right? And doing whatever he can to keep his mind clear. And but yeah, there's like Mark mentioned earlier, there are quite a few Easter eggs, and but yeah,
here's that 2-page spread real quick. Right up from going to playing with ping pong to having his alarms in the computer system in the ship go off, and you kind of follow him walking from the very bottom of the ship, and like I decided like
family circus.
Yeah, I decided when I saw this, like I stopped for a second. I was like, man, I got to look at all this detail, like not even the little details of what's included in it, but at first you have to stop and like kind of admire the details in the art itself. Because if you like his artwork, this is why you like his artwork. Pages like this. But I noticed right off the bat that it's almost like there's somebody working on an artboard right on the bottom right. You kind of just follow it up and follow the path of the stairs. And the first thing you pass is somebody surrounded by candles praying to a picture of Jack Kirby. And then as you follow it up, you go past his Murder Falcon characters. And then as you follow to the next room, well, we found the question that Pocan Joe has been wondering for weeks now. Where the hell is Marvel editorial? Well, we found them. They're right here. They're in space.
It's
They're
true.
right there. They are right there, Joe. We found them. But yeah, it was just riddled with awesomeness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's even an arcade in there. Like there's a literal arcade.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's probably more Easter eggs in here from other properties that he did. Those are the ones that just like jumped right out to me.
I really liked his artwork when he focused on I'm gonna try and pronounce it correctly, Muspelheim. When Odin finally says where he needs to go, and they show, and it's I don't want to say it's a one page, but it definitely could be a spread. Yeah. And that's just a great piece of work. Like you see that centipede crawling around what looks like some sort of cathedral of hell.
Yeah.
It's and like he doesn't shortchange us on the detail of that image either.
Yeah, what is the deal? Like again, I don't read Thor. What is the deal with Odin being like this biker, bar hanger outer, short haircut, big beard, ripped up like Rambo, but he's got a beer gut on him, some chains hanging down. But I thought it was awesome. I thought it kind of just fit the style of the book.
In Thor, Thor has become King Thor. So Odin no longer has a job, basically. Like he's a retired old man. And so he hasn't been seen in Thor. He showed like in issue 11, Jane Foster, like nobody knows where Odin is. They haven't been able to find him or anything. And Jane Foster like kicks in the door of the bar, and she like goes in there, like drags him out, and basically brings him back to help like solve all the problems. And that's where Thor gets to come back and put Odin in his place. You know, like you might be my dad, but I am the king, and like it's such a good moment. Like and it was kind of a messy wrap up and ending, but there was really good moments like that where Thor got to come back and assert himself. But that's all we know of Odin from Thor, and that's how they show him in Thor is like he's like this ripped biker dude, like he's just hanging out in this bar, like he's retired, and he comes in with a casket of ale or whatever, like he's just like a little like bar hop for a place to stay. Basically, he's retired and he's trying to live off the grid, and so that's the Odin that we met in Beta Ray Bill here.
Right.
Yeah, and it was a very personal moment too when Bill kind of goes through the laundry list of what he's done and what he's given up for Asgard and everything. And for Odin to not grant him that one wish the one time he's ever asked for anything, and Odin just to tell him like, dude, I'm helpless. You got to do it yourself. And just his willingness to go to literal hell was I don't know, that was a heavy moment. And to drag everyone with him willingly, like he's like, y'all aren't coming. They're like, we're literally in this with you. We're no different.
And I really like the message that was in there, because it kind of comes back to that thing like Spider-Man, like if you need the suit to be Spider-Man, then you're not really Spider-Man, it's within you, and so I really like that, because Odin's basically like, I could give you a hammer, that's no problem, but it's not going to do anything for you. It's all about you doing for yourself,
Right.
So it was a really great message and well delivered.
Go to Asgard and pick whatever weapon you want in the Great Hall. None of it's going to make you who you want to be. But yeah,
I love the way that
if you were reading Thor, you would have seen when Donald Blake walked into that hall and saw like every single weapon on that wall.
What did y'all think of the character designs for the elite guard surrounding the entrance?
Wow, I thought they were Eternals at first when I first looked at them. I'm like, is he going to have to do with the Eternals here? But yeah, they're definitely like well armored and well suited for war. Like Odin was not kidding that he has the best of the best, at the gates of hell, making sure that no one can go in, and more importantly, as he said, no one can come back out. But they're pretty sinister looking themselves.
Yeah, on Erratic
trade is going to be on sale FOC this week.
Yeah, I read the first issue of that and I really liked it, but I never finished pulling it. So I might jump on that, because $10 for that first arc might be pretty good.
It's a limited series. It's a fun read. Again, like I mentioned earlier, Corey Andrews did do a Spider-Man limited series before he did the Iron Fist 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm kind of seeing some parallels between Erratic and that Spider-Man miniseries that he did. And he did do some amazing Spider-Man work as well. But it's just a fun read. It's
Yeah.
the thing is, it's really quick paced. So I know that you do enjoy from time to time really quick paced stories, and that's what this is.
Yeah, that was definitely what I got in that first issue. Was kind of like
Yeah.
a more, I don't know, I guess like a more modern, like rougher version of Spider-Man or something.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
his life's a little more messed up in a lot of ways, but it still has like that fun superhero,
Yeah.
fast-paced action stuff that you get out
Yeah.
of Spider-Man.
It's a fun concept that he did for the main character. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I
Talking
do hear
fast,
that like the final issue was a little bit weak, but overall it sounds like the adventure was fun and worth it. So for $10, that sounds like a good deal.
talking fast-paced books. Did you get a chance to read this yet, Ryan? I know
Still,
you've been busy.
Oh.
yeah, it's been something I really just haven't prioritized cutting time out of my life for.
No, I know it's been spoiled for you already. So
Yeah, I'm not worried. Trust me, I'm not worried about spoilers on that book. So
Yeah.
well,
The moral of
add
this,
to the fire, Chris. Tell them what you thought.
I thought, I'm certainly not going to have a campfire and pray to gods, because my woman may end up pregnant for 2 months and giving birth to someone that's going to live for 80,000 years, and pray daily for Mortal Kombat kind of action. But big ups for all the animals that were sacrificed in this book. I think I saw 5 animals that Berserker literally ripped in half. Like rest
So
in
that
peace, rest in peace
piggybacking
to
off,
rest in peace to Cheetah
piggybacking
that
off
he
of
got.
what Taylor said, and now I believe what Taylor said about you more than ever.
What's that? The veterinarian? Yeah, he's pretty quick. I'll give him that. He is pretty quick. But yeah, I actually enjoyed it. I like the fact that it was him basically, just reciting his life story, that the person that he's talking to from the United States government says, "I'm sure that you've told this story millions of times," and he's just basically going over it and over it and over it. But it's to see him go through the years and then see just a young boy version of himself dealing with the communities that keep raping and pillaging his community on the seasonal basis, and taking their women and their stock and their livestock. It was an interesting start to the story. I'm glad that they took it as far back as what they did. I'm not
It was a
sure if
good
that was,
balance after issue
yeah.
one.
I'm not sure if that was Keanu that did that, or if it was Matt Kindt himself that's primarily coming up with the backstory for it. But it was
I
worth
wonder
the
if we'll
wait. It
ever
was
know
worth the
either.
wait for me.
I would be interested in a director's cut, or like I don't know, the inception of the book itself. Like, where did all these ideas come from? Like, how much was from who?
Right. But
I
yeah,
feel like Keanu Reeves' pitch was, what if there was a book where a guy just like punched through everybody's faces for a long time, and then at the end there's this crazy reveal that he's actually an immortal. And Matt Kent was like, all right, well, let's fluff up the last quarter of that, and then I'll write the other 4 issues that go with this.
Yeah.
I feel like his
Sounds about
entire pitch was just like the first 3 quarters of that first book.
Yeah, I thought it was for a celebrity written book. We can debate all day how much Keanu actually had to do with it. I thought it was good. It was a good follow up, a good sequel, whatever you want to call it, to issue number 1. Again, still like ripping someone's ribs out of their rib cage and stabbing someone else in the neck with it. That's quite the introduction to issue number 1, and seeing a cheetah ripped in half in issue number 2, and yeah, it was good, just good independent violence, and this is what I expect from independent books, is just hardcore violence with excellent storylines.
Formatting wise, with this one, I think it was a lot cleaner than the first one. The first one just kind of just throwing at the wall everything that they kind of promised this series would be, just to deliver on that, just going for shock value, over the top everything. And this one kind of pulled back on that. It still delivers all the violence that you'd expect out of this book, especially after issue 1, but it starts kind of bringing it down and balancing it with a little bit more story. as well as the way that they actually formatted the storytelling in it was a lot smoother, with him sitting there having a conversation in current time and kind of flashing back to the backstory that,
His
whether they
birth.
should have whether they should have like drug that out or left it a mystery. I don't know. I think it was needed at this point. Now, at this point now, we got the introduction, we got the origin. So issue 3, we should start being introduced to the actual story that this first arc should be revolving around. Like, who's the protagonist going to be? What's the motivation behind him working with the government and them working with him? We already know the obvious, that they want the army, he wants death, but there's got to be more to it than that, So we're going to hopefully get to see the actual story open up in the next issue. I'm looking forward to it. This is my firepower, that no effort read book, just sit down and read it, because firepower requires no effort. Literally, an illiterate person could read firepower because there's no dialogue in it.
Savage. But yeah, I saw that Steve said it's good family fun. Good family fun there. How about that scene where baby Berserker is suckling at the nipple, and he's literally ripping the nipple off his poor mother.
Yeah,
Covered in blood. But yeah, it just seems like there's no wall they won't go through. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is like, I typically don't take people's opinions, I guess, like up front, like I typically kind of listen to and observe people and kind of learn, how they review things and how my opinion, skews from theirs. And so knowing that, like, all the people that I listen to and stuff, hearing their thoughts on Berserker 2 versus 1 and where they were at on number 1 lets me know, like, I'm probably going to enjoy this. It's probably a lot better than what the first one was, like that's something I can tell from all the reviews I hear. So I'm interested in reading number 2. It's just, it still has not become a priority for me. So I'll probably get to it tomorrow, usually Monday, because it's like the books come out on Tuesday and Wednesday, and I'm like reading all of those through Sunday. And then like after we do this show, I usually don't have anything to read again until new books drop on Tuesday. So that's Monday's usually where I get all my catch up work done.
well, that's Berserker. Teen Titans Academy.
That'll be interesting.
I think everyone read this one.
I read it a couple times. Maybe I should have read it one less time and read Berserker 2 instead. Nah.
I remember hearing Mark last night on Steve's channel saying this book in particular has brought together DC's continuity that we haven't seen in quite a while. And I would agree with Mark 100%. Teen Titans 2 Academy is showing how well DC's creative and writing team has come together since Infinite Frontier has started. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it. As a Marvel guy, I am thoroughly enjoying this ride. I like the fact that the Suicide Squad is just all over the place. They're not just in their own book. And but yeah, the pacing of this book was a little bit different, I found, than what some other DC books that I've been reading lately. And I'm fascinated by Bolt and where Bolt's character is going to be going. I really hope we get a little bit more of a backstory for Bolt, or if there is one, I'm sorry that I don't know it as of yet. I remember Ryan yesterday saying that he likes the look of Cyborg in this. The Colossus look that Cyborg seems to have adapted. I agree. It's cool to see Cyborg just normally
like those metal straps, yeah.
Right, normally as just a normal looking man. Like obviously he's metaled over, but he's not
more modern, classic to me.
Yeah,
I like
it. It's a good fresh take on Cyborg. And yeah, it's a interesting whodunit kind of book. I like the fact that Tim Sheridan had Red X throw his cape or cloak, whatever you want to call it, and Nightwing just balls to the wall, jump right off after it. And when he safely hits the bottom, or is helped down to the bottom, pardon me, Nightwing even admits, Oh, that was a really good move because Nightwing went the opposite, or pardon me, Red X went in the opposite direction of what his cloak did. So I thought that
Yeah.
was actually a very, very spot on piece of writing. And yeah, like I know we're gonna get in great detail about the book, but I cannot wait for Suicide Squad 3 because of this book.
Yes.
And kudos to the two of you. Like I mentioned in Two Cool Guys Swap Picks earlier today. Kudos to the two of you for turning me on to Suicide Squad because it is a fantastic issue 1 and issue 2 have been in a fantastic alternative type of DC book. Like to me, it's almost like a
Yes.
Boom Studios or an Image type of book,
A
just
black
for the
label.
for the violence and yeah, for those that are enjoying Teen Titans Academy, make sure that you grab those last 2 copies of Suicide Squad, so you get to see
The full story.
so you get to see the full story and why they're showing up here and how crazy Amanda Waller seems to be lately.
Oh yeah, she is unhinged at this point. I do
Yeah.
want to ask: are either of y'all reading Strange Academy?
I gave up on it.
No.
You gave up on it?
Yeah, I
gave
was
up on it before it started.
I was reading it because my favorite artist of all time, Arthur Adams, was doing like a cover B variant for them, and with the last couple where they're just basically just field trip, and killing off one of the main characters, I just kind of thought it's just getting a little predictable for me, and I wanted to. I'll be honest, I wanted to give Teen Titans Academy a fresh start, figuring that they're probably going to use the same layout as what Strange Academy has been doing, and the premise is there, but how they're adapting quickly into the whole Red X saga is something that's not being observed on the Marvel side of things. But yeah, if it wasn't for Arthur Adams, I wouldn't have even touched Strange Academy outside of the first couple issues for spec value.
I think it was a lazy move on DC's part just to kind of piggyback on the eye candy of the whole Strange Academy thing, because it's not like they're doing anything new to mimic Strange Academy that they weren't doing with Teen Titans already, other than we have it's like a new class year. Like it's a fresh start after an event to begin with. You know what I mean? So we would have seen
Yeah.
a fresh start on this title. If you took the word Academy out of it, there'd be no running joke on the Strange Academy thing. It would just be Teen Titans, just like it is. Oh, we have a new class coming in with Red X sneaking into it. It would still just be that. It's in my opinion, that was just dumb for them to add Academy, because now it's a running joke.
It could have been Teen Titans Detectives for all that all that cares, because they're kind of turning it into
number 1.
Yeah.
See, my input on it is like I haven't read any of Strange Academy, right? But I have seen a couple of people that, not that they were negative on Teen Titans Academy, but that they felt like there's not enough character development, like you're not getting enough out of the new characters, and like they're not interested in the Red X reveal, I guess. And so like I haven't read Strange Academy, so I don't know how closely exactly things are. But to me, Teen Titans Academy is very much like a murder mystery, and like not giving us everything about new characters up front kind of just plays more into that mystery, because you got the question not only like who is Red X and is it one of these new kids or is it one of the old guard, but then you also have the concept of like who are these new people? I don't even know them well enough to know if they could be capable of this kind of stuff, you know.
And they keep introducing like this whole little mystery concept to one character. Both issues, they've spotlighted one character that leads you to believe he might have it in him. Like it was the kid training with the energy powers in the last issue that was overtraining instead of being in class. And in this issue, what was his name? Matt Price or something?
Matt Price.
They kind of spotlight him long enough to give you a little bit about him. So it's definitely being written smart. I agree that full reveal of who these characters are would take away from that.
Yeah, we got like the little like breadcrumbs for Brick in that last issue and stuff, you know, like I'm really enjoying it because the mystery is what is like kind of dragging me along all the way through, is like who are these people and who is the Red X and what's the big reveal going to be and all of this stuff. So I kind of actually enjoy the mystery element to this, and so it doesn't bother me that we're not getting like a ton of like character development out of like these new characters all at once. Like I like that they're kind of dragging this out, you know, but I feel like they're pacing it well though. because you get like in this one, like Bolt, they set her up. They're like, yeah, like she can only move in like quick bursts. So we know she's not like the other Flash characters, but that also means down the road, if she does develop more like Flash-like qualities and abilities, like that's going to be a cool surprise because we thought she was just, so like to me, it's good pacing the way they're kind of revealing elements of these characters.
If they would have went full on with just this new class diving into that, then you would have heard the reverse complaints. Well, why aren't we focusing on the Teen Titans? Why aren't we looking at Nightwing? Why aren't we looking at So there's a ton of characters in that building right now. You have three generations in that building right now. So I think it's a nice balancing act they're doing right now. I couldn't do it better.
And like one other thing I wanted to say, like I really liked Matt Price. I like the way that they set him up because like I grew up in rural Texas and like football is the thing. Like my small town, they did very well at football. And so growing up in a small town like that, like whenever I was like 16, 17, 18, like, I grew up a nerd. Like I was always reading. I used to walk around school with the D&D Monster Manual, and I would read that in between classes and stuff, And so like, especially once I got a job and I started getting out into the real world, I would encounter people all the time that they automatically met me with a sense of like disappointment because I'm like 6 foot tall and like, 250 pounds. And like, I worked at this warehouse one time and there was this old black man that ran the docks and he was like, boy, you look like you ate a lot of cornbread when you was growing up. I was like, yeah. And he was like, bet you was real good at football. And I was like, actually, I never played. It never interested me. And there was just like this look of disappointment in his face immediately. And that's very much how Matt Price felt in this because he's like, you should be working out and exercising. He's like, dude, I'm automatically like tough as nails and one of the strongest people on the planet. I don't need to exercise. I need to get my brain sharp, And so I really related to that sense of like people have this expectation because of how you look. But the reality is maybe that's not your interest, And so I really connected with Matt on that element. And that's what I really enjoyed and thought made him a really cool character, plus all the amnesia.
The cool part about that little scene as well is that Tim Sheridan had Nightwing just back off right away and say, yes, you're absolutely right. Continue doing what you're doing. So yeah, I agree. That was a very good scene.
Yeah.
So overall, I give that book a solid 7. The Red X angle was great. I love like the way that they kind of introduced the Suicide Squad in this book to the readers that were not already reading Suicide Squad with like the shadow phone calls from this mystery woman, and then you see like her hand on the desk talking to the shadowy figure, and she just calls him by his last name, and it's Peacemaker she's talking to, and then they reveal him on that last page. Definitely excited for where it's going from here. I think they're weaving it in beautifully. And I love the angle that they leave us thinking that clearly she has something to do with Red X, but the team probably doesn't know that. As Ryan mentioned, like the less that she allows everyone to know, the more power she has over all of them. They really played into that well.
Yeah.
She's quickly becoming a great sinister character.
Mm-hmm.
Not that she was, mischievous before, but it's there. The current writing team that's handling DC right now is taking Amanda Waller and just taking her to a whole new level of cloak and dagger type macabre type of thought process that she's doing. Like, come on, she's got a Kryptonian.
Yeah,
like, come on. Yeah,
I mean, if we think about like the way that some of these books are, thanks, Tyler. Tyler sucks. If you think about the way like you can connect this stuff to the like cinematic stuff, right? So we know like Suicide Squad, the movie had like, I mean, DC, that stuff in general, their movies, like Viola Davis is one of their more perfect castings, and she's a powerhouse of an actress. Absolutely. And so when you look at that, like it's probably in their benefit to start pushing Amanda Waller and trying to like really put her in a position, because like you see Marvel just unveiled like Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and we see a lot of like powerful women in powerful places and sinister places in the MCU. So it seems like it would be in DC's benefit to kind of make Waller out to be as sinister as possible and really turn her into a mastermind right now, so that when the Suicide Squad drops and future DC EU stuff starts to pop up and she's playing that character, like there's that kind of connection. They can really put her in a strong position in their movie universe.
Facts.
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. Viola Davis is a tremendous actress, and they were spot on. All right, DOT.
This is a huge week. This is a really huge week.
Yeah.
So we're back on the main plot thread. We had those last 2 issues where it kind of gives us more of the history of the Department of Truth itself, as well as like from Cole's angle as well. Like, it was cool. We kind of took a step away. We got a different artist in as we are kind of backpedaling through like just their history. But we're back in it with Cole, and they introduced actually some strong concepts in this one to how the department works and some of their actual tools that they use, which turn out to be individual people that they have an awesome word for them. Like, they're considered fictions. They have this guy that works for them who's like their fixer, that's able to basically, this individual guy, we don't know how, we don't know what he does to do it, if there's more to it than just him, but he is capable of correcting things. Like, they didn't address this yet, but that ice wall that popped up in issue 1, it was still there after they killed all those people and left. There's still an ice wall. We have to do something about removing it, so we have a fixer. And it was cool in the little flashback when they were kind of keeping an eye on Cole as a kid. They made a comment about how he might be a fiction. So Cole and this guy are now met, and they kind of tease like he's going to show you how to correct these things and do these things. And this guy's a total wild card. It was super cool. He doesn't play by the rules of the department. He walks around smoking cigarettes on the Lincoln Memorial and wearing hats and spitting on it and stuff, and doesn't care because he knows he's so good at his job he doesn't have to be liked. He's not disposable in this department. He's needed.
Yeah, I love that his hat has the upside down flag. Like if there's anybody that can put us in distress, it's going to be that guy.
Yeah.
It's really cool though, because it's almost like they almost like gave superpowers to certain people. Like they're like mutants or something.
So Cole has the potential to be one of the fictions, and I don't remember what that guy's name is, but
did they give him a name?
I think they did.
I almost thought they always referred to him as the man in the black helicopter.
Yeah, I thought it was the man in the black helmet. Yeah, you're the man we were sent here to meet. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't feel like they ever actually said a name for him, but they always kind of played the Chapter 6, the man in the black helicopter.
Well, that's probably why I don't remember his name then. His name's Hawk Harrison.
Hawk Harrison?
Yes.
Oh,
it's
okay.
clearly his government.
The Magic Man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, when she introduces Cole to him, she says, "This is Hawk Harrison."
Oh, okay. Yeah, so they did. Okay. I just remember him as the man in the black helicopter.
It was cool.
Which was so cool. Like, I love these scenes where it's like all red with like the helicopters just outlined in black. There's like some really cool imagery as always in Department of Truth. But
and so the conspiracy they get on within this one is the the Denver airport and the strange construction of it and everything and all the iconology all over it.
Even as a Canadian, I knew about Denver Airport before I read this, and I've actually been to the Denver Airport. But yeah,
good Lord, you Canadians get around.
It's true. It's true. I'm all about supporting your economy, man.
Our economy.
But yes, there again, Martin Simmons, I felt for this particular issue was fantastic with his visuals.
Yeah. I love the way that this book just like completely inhabits that world. Like every element is just perfect.
But yeah, you made mention earlier about the Scotty Young variant. Like, I know, generally speaking, as a child of the '70s, reading comic books in the '80s, generally speaking, comic book covers generally don't have anything that closely related to the story. but that cover had nothing to do with anything when it came to this storyline whatsoever. You know,
Yeah.
like
He did.
the
He
lady
did
in the red dress
mention-
isn't in here. Nothing.
Oh, your cover. This cover did.
No, the Scotty Young variant.
I just don't
Mhm.
understand what the little spermies have to do with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Vampire sperm.
This one has the lady in the red dress, but like she's tied in the chair, and then you got the
Yeah.
Illuminati eye back there, so it at
Yeah.
least helps connect it a little bit.
Yeah, we do have a glimpse of the all-seeing eye near the end of the book, right? When they're going to meet the man in the distress hat. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
like how the department actually were talking about, like, the last issue we saw him talking to the man with the black hat, the guy who's actively fighting against the department. Like, they're not just brushing that under the radar. Like, that was kind of in discussion. Like, he's still questioning everything. He doesn't know where he fits. He's still completely disjointed on his footing and what's good and what's bad, and kind of even flashing back. They did a good job flashing us back to what happened, because it's been 2 issues since we've been into the story. Like, he's in the helicopter having those. You just kind of seeing his thoughts of I'm the good guy, and the 2 bangs where he shot those people. Like, the fact that they really committed to that and they're bringing it back up and everything, they're just keeping us in the emotional state that Cole is in really well. Very
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
I felt like, I mean, we've kind of talked about that before, how like Cole really isn't like anything special, you know. It's all the story going on around him. But I did
No.
feel like the end of this book actually made him a little more relevant, because if we get to watch him transition from one side of this to the other, that could be interesting, you know. That could be a great turn because of like how far back his history with all of this is gone, and now like we're finding out, well, there might be a reason that he was able to manifest his past and all that. And so like that does make him a much more interesting character to me than he was in like the first 6 issues or whatever, you know.
right. Interesting,
Mhm.
yes. Likable, no. He's not.
Well, yeah, no, not likable,
No,
but
he's not. He's not a likable character. Like almost like
but
Lee is almost more of a likable character, at least for I thought just comedic value. Like I still can't get over the fact that like it's Lee Harvey Oswald that is the leader of the Department of Truth. But yeah,
right.
I don't. Again, he's an interesting character. He's just not likable at this point for me.
Yeah.
He still hasn't done that wow moment. He still hasn't had that step forward type of moment either.
Which could be part of his swing from one side to the other, you know.
Right.
That could make him
Right.
likable if
Mhm.
it's played right, you know. And then we're like, oh, okay, like yeah, he's on the right side of things, and like we could get into him. But right now, like I think this was the most interesting thing we've seen out of his character so far.
I'm wondering if they're going to establish a right side to any of this to begin with.
I think
Well, yeah,
they're
yeah.
just gonna blur everything and just kind of like let them tread down whatever trail they want to get to the ending that they want individually. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What did y'all think of Detective Comics?
I thought it had the cover of the week. But yeah. I thought it was good, and I thought the backup story was excellent.
I thought the backup story was okay. Like it won me over
Yep.
more that it was connected to the main story than like it would have if it had just been its own thing. But it was cool. It was an interesting little like character introspective and how much like Huntress really cares and stuff. But I like the main story just for the pure fact that it's a detective story. Like I'm so tired of watching Batman like brood about how he lost all of his money and now he's got to try to do things. And in this one, like this is the first Batman book in like forever where they didn't mention that he lost all of his money. At least I don't remember them talking about it. But they did set up a great mystery, and I thought it was well played because like they basically destroyed the evidence. So like that made it that much more interesting that the world's greatest detective has to solve this and not just the police alone.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting story of heartache and heart pain, that's for sure. With the whole idea of Sarah going missing, and then the Bat, of course, finding her down in the depths of Gotham City, and then seeing her father's reaction at her funeral. I thought that was very well played, and again, it's good Batman writing outside of the franchise title. Let's be honest. But my one question to the two of you is, now that we have Sarah, this is a spoiler, obviously, for those that haven't read it. Now that we have Sarah showing up in the final image, is this zombified or did he come across someone else? Or what do you guys think?
That was her at the
Oh,
end, right?
I don't
Yeah.
have a thought on that. I don't know. That part kind of threw me out of the issue, to be honest with you. It was kind of weird.
Right.
The rest of it was pretty solid, just kind of dealing with like it just feels like a Batman book. You know, we're dealing with
Mm-hmm.
crooked rich people in the city, and we're dealing with
Mm-hmm.
Batman trying to go about his business while they're just making him doing the right thing more difficult. The police just opening fire on him was kind of goofy, but you know Nakano does have this shoot order. But I feel like you remember like in every other Batman book ever that existed until now, whenever the cops see Batman, they're like, "I didn't see him. Go, just let him go. Go, do your thing, Batman." You know, like why would they all of a sudden change that just because Mayor Nakano tells them otherwise? This isn't the first time that somebody in authority was like, "I don't like Batman. Batman's illegal," but the cops are like, "We're not idiots, so we're going to let him continue to do his thing."
He actually even took a bullet. Like looking at the artwork from that scene where he gets open fired on, it looks like
Yeah,
he
he
took
takes a
like
bullet
he
in
took
the arm.
like he took a round through the left arm. I thought, but then we don't see Bruce in a sling or anything like that. So I wasn't sure if then that was something else. But they did show a good ricochet. Like it was I like I said, I enjoyed it for what
Yeah,
it was. Like there was some. I thought the whole idea of the ricochet shot was pretty cool.
Dan
Yeah.
Moore's art was gorgeous.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, for me, like it
Delivers.
made sense. I will say, Mask of Phantasm. Before you even get like the title card, the police have already turned on Batman. So he like
That's valid.
somebody drove a they like drive a car out of a parking garage, and everybody outside is just like, "It's Batman. He's awful." Like the whole city turns on him in a moment. It's crazy. And but also just because of all the stuff that's been going on with Mayor Nakano and the the peacekeeper situation and all that, like what's his name, Mr. Wise or whatever, like they've been
Yes.
turning the authority of Gotham against Batman for some time now.
Yeah,
And so it kind of
wasn't-
made sense to me that the cops turned on him so quick.
But like you have like Montoya, and they did, I guess, address that because Montoya was kind of like still like being that one that she's been around for a while and she liked Batman, and you had that scene a couple issues ago where Nakano brought her in personally, and because he kind of knew that about her, and started addressing that. So yeah, they have been kind of working on it. I guess it just feels weird. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of ready to get past this whole Batman's broke, Batman's on the run thing, just because I feel like it's been drug out for so long already, and we haven't really got any solid story. Like this is the start of a story arc, and then Tynan's been on a Batman run for however many issues without telling the story yet. So it just feels
I
like we've
read
been kind
6
of
of them and nothing happened. So
yeah, it's been kind of just spinning its wheels. You know what I mean? Since Joker, where nothing's gone on at all, and but
yep.
I'm just ready for something to go on with Batman, or either I'm ready for the next issue of Batman Detective to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this was
But I
definitely
mean, like I
solid.
said, this is like in 6 issues of Tynion's Batman, he talked about how he lost his money every single issue. Like, I'm broke and I'm poor now. And even in the last Detective Comics, he makes reference to like, I lost all my money and now I'm broke. So I totally feel that fatigue of like constantly harping on his
and in
lack of
Nightwing,
money.
and in Nightwing, and in Joker.
Yeah. But this issue, other than talking about like what specific like hold up or whatever he's in, I forget what he called them, but he didn't actually talk about losing his money and how hard things are going to be now that he's broke. So I do feel like this book, at least out of all of what I've seen of Batman lately, this is the first one that's actually making any progress away from that one little point. Like they just keep on trying to drive it home, and I'm like, I get it, he don't have billions of dollars, he's only got millions now, but like I'm not going to cry for him.
Another book that did not mention him losing his money was Robin issue number 1.
That's
Nice
very true.
segue. Nice segue.
Right?
Very well done, Mark. Very well done.
So Joshua Williamson, who kind of left his like memorable mark on the Flash series, has been kind of writing all over the place in short spurts. And he landed on the Robin book, and there was a backup story in 106 and 107, I believe. Was it 106? Was it 106 and then the next detective issue? Yeah. It went from Batman 106 to the detective issue after that, but then it broke out to its own title with this #1, where we find Damian going after this League of Lazarus that is it looks like I don't know, a society or a cult, yet to be determined on that, but it's kind of based off of the Lazarus pits that are associated with
It's
Damien's
like
mom and
Scooby Doo
grandfather.
2 meets Mortal Kombat.
Boom, nailed it. That's it. That's it.
It's
But
quite the
well written
crossover.
somehow.
Where's Comic-Cade when you need him?
Yeah, to be something that's so goofy when you just lay out concept, it actually played out really smooth. It was a good comic. It was well written. I think Joshua Williamson understands his character. So we have him basically just fighting his way into an invitation to get to this island. And he gets there where the League of Lazarus holds a tournament for why, who knows. But all these nobody underrated characters are bragging about how they beat like these top fighters like Richard Dragon and Bronze Tiger to earn their way there. And they did address it. They're like, "Oh, you fought Bronze Tiger?" He said, "Yes." I said, "So you cheated?" He goes, "Had to." Like, like of course I cheated. How else was I going to beat the Bronze Tiger? So that was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
The interiors are
But
beautiful.
they are. Don't go to the
Yeah.
last. Don't go to the end. Do not flip to the end because
Okay,
he literally gets he gets killed in the first issue. So I don't want you to get to the end and spoil that, but he gets his heart literally punched out of his chest,
like Johnny Cage.
like Kano, bro.
All right.
Yeah, he literally.
I will say, like,
punches his heart out of his chest.
you know,
You
I
are
was
not.
sold
You are
on
not
this.
kidding. Like I
No.
just literally turned.
And
I was literally
what's
like
cool
at the page like call me flatline and then block and then there's his
A
heart.
hole in a heart.
And what's
Yep.
cool, it was subtle, but that was a perfect moment to show his cockiness and his overconfidence. Because when you read the beginning, like you'll notice that he's in this fight against
Yes.
I think
So-
it's against King Snake or somebody.
Right,
But
3 times
he's
the
fighting
size of
against-
him. Mhm.
Yeah, now look how he knocks him out. Look at the move that he does to knock out King Snake.
Yep.
Pure Robin move.
Yeah, straight knee to the face. So cocky, confident Damien thinking, "Oh, I've won that fight. I can just knee anybody in the face." Same pose. He goes to knee flatline in the face, and it costs him his life. It was subtle, but it's there. Like you see him just try to do the same move over.
Yeah. See, and this is Williamson writing, and so I was automatically sold. Like, there was no way this wasn't going to work for me. But even at the beginning of this book, like the whole like setup and stuff, I was like, okay, like when are we going to get to the part that we're here for? Like, what, you know, this is getting a little long in the tooth here, and you know, then it kind of takes off from there, and I'm like, this is great, but you know, going back, like once you get to the end, I was like, oh yeah, like this was just like Williamson being a master of his craft once again, because he shows like in the beginning of this book, he shows us pretty much every facet of Damien. And so like whenever he gets to the island and stuff, like he's a cocky little shit. But like you don't hate the character because of all the stuff you saw at the beginning of the book, you know? Like these people are like begging for money, and like he gets this one coin, and they're like, "Can we please have that one coin?" And he's like, "Nah," and then just like hands them a wad of cash and walks off. You know, like so Damien is like still a good person. You know, like he has the soul of a human being. You know, and then he goes there. So whenever he's all cocky, you're like, "Oh no, like I don't hate him because I know he's still a good human." You know, you see how all the rest of the Bat family like really cares about him, even though he's been at odds with all of them since he showed up, you know. But to see that they care about him that much and they want to know what's going on, and then the way he interacts with the family begging and stuff, like it really endears you to the character. So when he gets to the island and he's just like a cocky douchebag, you're like, yeah, but I still kind of like him, you know. And then you get to the twist ending and you're like, oh, okay, like this is really turning into something now.
Yeah, he definitely has some of the characteristics of both Dick and Jason Todd in him as Robin that way, and there's not that much of his dad in there. Like there's like I don't remember Bruce being that arrogant while in costume. I get that the alter ego still has the Playboy side to him, but
Matches
yeah,
Malone.
Matches Malone.
that was good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
behind
think
him.
that's what
That
makes
was
them an
good.
interesting duo. Because Damian is the exact opposite of what Batman or what Bruce was. Like Bruce was
Mhm.
weak in his youth and he was traumatized, whereas Damian was raised to be strong in his youth. And now that he's a little later in life, he's having to learn, to be a human and the human side of life. And at the same time, like Bruce is kind of like trying to reconnect to that aspect of his life, but it's also something he's had to learn to separate himself from to do the job. And so I think that's what makes them interesting when they're like together, as a duo. So it's there's not a lot of Bruce in there, I guess, but there is something because he's had to learn it.
Dude, do you know where there is a lot of Bruce? In Batman, Superman, issue number 17. There's literally 2 universes worth
Love
of
it.
Bruce in here.
Love it. Love the segues tonight.
Oh my god, man, the burrito should hire you, dude.
This right here was fire, dude.
Oh, it was so good.
Quirky, it was off the wall, but it was read so smooth. It's total Elseworlds-ish. Perfect follow-up to that last issue while not destroying like they have that epic kind of formatting to it and everything. And they still play with it in this one, but they play with it like broken and disjointed. But we have we have Bruce, a lot of Bruce. We have Batman and Superman checking in on this satellite where this being is basically some kind of cosmic being that is controlling other parallel multiverses or other parallel worlds, and he's like the director of them, like setting the stories for them, and they stumble upon him doing it. And then we cut to inside of there and find out that that's what we were reading in the past issue is one of these stories. And
Yeah.
it's really cool little setup to play with because it opens the door for infinite possibilities. And they have so many cool Elseworld concepts they're working with in here.
Yeah. I want to say, like we were talking earlier about how like covers a lot of times aren't representative of the content. Like I skipped the variant cover because I was like, it's just another picture of Batman and Superman. But like I like this cover because it had all of these cool things going on in it. In my mind, I never once thought like this is literally what we're getting right now. But that is the Superman you get, that is the Batman you get, and yes, Robin is there and he's kind of hilarious.
He is.
Like Batman threw the batarang and hit the ring or whatever, and he's like, if you don't stop now, the next one's gonna go in your eye. And Robin's just like, oh yeah, I would do what he says. That sounds gross.
So yeah, you can clearly tell from Superman's shield and everything. If you look close at the way that Batman and Robin are drawn, they're drawn like the old 1940s serials. Like you can see like the stitching on Batman's bat. Robin's domino mask is huge on his face and everything. And so the dialogue is reflective too, but it's not necessarily the 1940s. The cars look like it is. A lot of the dialogue is like they're trying to put it in a time set past. But there's
Holy
things like
Batmans.
tablets. Yeah, they're holy tablet Batman. Like guards are using tablets, checking people in and stuff. But the Batmobile looks amazing. The designs of everything is great. They have like all these huge exhausts off the side with fire blowing out. Same for the Batwing and stuff. And
I mean, I will say for DC movies, huge miss not casting Bryan Cranston as Lex Luthor. Like,
yes,
he was so awesome in this.
as Warden Luthor.
Yeah. Oh, it was so. I was like, is that Bryan Cranston? What's going on right now?
Yeah, it was definitely Walt. And Robin's excitement, like, look, when Batman's like, when the Batmobile gets, well, they have to get to the top of the building. Like, how are we going to get up there? And Batman's like, I didn't tell you about the modifications. And he hits the ejector seat. Robin's face, just pure enjoyment. Like, I'm Batman's sidekick. This is
My
the best shot in the world.
Yeah, my immediate thought in that panel was like, oh yeah. Like at this point in time, Robin was just a window character for teenage boys to want to read Batman and Robin, and like they nailed it there. Like he has that childlike look of excitement on his face, and he's just like, this is the best job in the world. Like,
Every
what
day's
more
an
could you
amusement
want?
park. Yep.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because that, and also like because instead of panel work in these two issues, it's been a film reel that you're reading. Like the panels are drawn like film reels, and it gets to points where the reels are breaking and they're kind of opening between the two different worlds and stuff. And it was really cool because the director character who was kind of orchestrating all this saw that he's in trouble with the real Superman and Batman. And he looks down into one of his stories and sees Lex Luthor with a bracelet on, and he's able to reach in and pull it out, and it fits perfectly on his finger.
Yeah.
Just that what was big in their world is so then he's just automatically equipped with a kryptonite ring, and yeah, it
Yeah.
was just fun, man. It was just so
Which
smart.
was the thing. Like, I really enjoyed the story. Like, from the get go, I was like, this is fun, but like, what is the meaning of all this? Like, in the sense of like, is this just going to be a bunch of one-off stories set in like film reel, or like, like, are we just getting like random time period adventures or something? And then whenever like everything comes unraveled and you meet Auteur IO, like, that was so genius. Like that's so cool that they made this like director robot that's like playing with all this film, and like the whole like meta plot, I guess, of it all was just really cool. Like you said, I mean, he's just like, oh yeah, like, okay, Superman's here, that's gonna be a problem even if I am a god. So let me just take this ring out of this story. And Lex is down there like, hey, where'd my ring go, what's going on? And I don't know. It just like all like intertwined so well, because about the point where I was like, what does this all mean? Like, is it just a weird one-off story? Like, boom. Oh yeah. By the way, this is how all of this is connected.
And how like spot on are the characters as well. Even though we're dealing with three different parallel worlds, Earth Zero and the two separate ones, because Batman and Superman are from different parallel worlds where both of them don't know each other. They don't exist on each other's world, and they were brought together. But Superman is still Superman. He's still caring for the villains. He's still trying to find that angle. Batman's still brooding and straight to the point. Like they're still completely written in characters somehow. But John Ridley can't write Superman to save his life. Got to put that out there.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just us. Maybe we just don't understand Superman as well as he does.
That might be it. Maybe that has to be it.
Why wouldn't he be a murderer?
I enjoy John Ridley as a writer. I haven't read anything of his that I did not like yet, except for the two books. Strangely, the two books where he tried to bring Superman into the writing. And that was Other History of the DC Universe #2 and Superman Red and Blue #1. Both of those, like I got to the part with Superman and it was so out of character that it completely threw me out of the book. I'm like, dude, this is not okay. Someone tell on him, call editorial, fix this now. What is up,
Well,
Comics
hopefully
and
they
Death
have
Metal? Chris Neff, glad you
up.
can come by. We stay up late so that you have a chance to come by and see us. That's what it is. We're in different time zones and different countries, so this is just the times at work, and it's a huge.
We're international, baby.
Yeah.
It's true. We're the UN of the comic community right here.
This is it with matching shirts tonight.
Yeah, that's right.
My sister was talking about making a trip to Mexico here soon, today at lunch, and my mom kept on referring to it as like traveling internationally, and I'm just like, I don't think that counts.
Yeah,
totally counts.
I'm not a big fan of traveling.
It's like a 6-hour drive.
Dude, I hate traveling. I hate long distances. But if it's a necessity, like it is for Ellie and the crew to travel as far as they need to go.
Knew it. Felt it. As soon as he started saying traveling, I'm like, he's going to Denver.
Dude, take it away, man.
Well, my first Image book that I fell in love with was Eric Larson's Savage Dragon. And how awesome was it that we finally got to see some Image properties show up in crossover? And I'm proud to say, as someone of my age that hopped on the Image bandwagon bright and early, that we have multiple original Image characters in this splash right here. We have Shadowhawk.
Delivered.
Yep.
Yes.
Shadowhawk, just Savage Dragon, who gets his rear end handed to him, I'll be honest with you. Along with multiple other Image characters. Like we got the Walking Dead going on in here. Like it's just a fantastic read, and I'm not kidding when the Savage Dragon gets his rear end handed to him. Sorry, Mark, I don't want to swear. And but yeah, it's as much bitching and complaining that I've done about crossover the last few issues. Hit Girl shut my mouth. like it finally delivers on the title of, you know, not crossing over from one world to another. It delivers on the fact that what most of us thought originally going into issue number 1, we're going to have crossover characters through the Image world, and it shows up, and we even get Invincible in form of a T-shirt.
Yeah. So that 2-page splash was awesome. Look at the left-hand page in the top, the 4 silhouetted figures.
Yeah, so I'll tell you who my guesses are. I thought also that I saw Cal as so we have a purple man wearing green pants, one of Mark's all-time favorite characters. We got the Last Ronin and his 3 brothers.
Yes.
Like I said, on another page, I thought we had an image of Superman. I thought we also have a small splash color of Bane back here as well. You guys can probably correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But yeah, it's like some sort of a morphed Galactus back there. And if I'm wrong, please correct me.
Yeah, that's what I see. It's very Kirby-esque, but you have the X on there fighting Shadowhawk.
Yes.
You got Darkness right behind Savage Dragon, Witchblade fighting Savage Dragon.
We got like a parallel Spawn maybe taken. That's Silvestri's. That's just wow. It's just this is what I personally was expecting right from issue number 1. And I'm glad it delivered here. I'm sort of sad that it didn't, like, it wasn't like an entire issue long battle. But the fact that we get like some Malarverse here as well.
Dude, that was fantastic. Hit Girl popping up in her little dialogue when the guy said when he saw Hit Girl, he's like, "This is the best day ever." And she said, "For me too," and just runs into the horde of zombies and just starts wrecking.
Like do we think that's the big blue Boy Scout up there?
And the black silhouette with the red cape.
Yeah,
red
calls him an a-hole. But
yeah. Do we know who the guy is that he's fighting? Is that anybody recognizable to you? I don't recognize him.
Let's see. The guy who he is fighting?
Who Superman was beating up.
Is that... You think that's supposed to be like an Adam Warlock type? Like...
I don't know.
Or original Captain Marvel? Like the cancer death Captain Marvel? Marvel?
I don't have a clue.
Like it's.
I didn't know if he was a legitimate character.
No, I don't recognize him myself.
I will say, like, I don't know that I thought that like the zombies in general were gonna be there. You know, like just hordes of zombies. But it's kind of a genius move because they spent all this time, trekking to this dome. But now that they're there, like that means the story, it would technically move really fast if there wasn't enough resistance. So having zombies everywhere kind of slows down the group in a way and kind of helps build things out, you know.
And even Donnie, I was gonna say, even Donnie Cates knows how to rescue his own title, calling the Canadians to take it over. Like,
now, did you catch the narration dialogue in the first 2 pages? Like, it starts out with the narrator continuing to narrate, which for a long time since it started, we talked about, we think the narrator is actually supposed to be Donnie Cates, and the narrator loses control. He's like, no, this isn't how the story goes. This is what happens. I'm in, and it fades out. So it's almost like he completely is passing over the book in a very meta way as well as the narrator. I thought that was really slick.
I'm curious if we're going to have a sarcastic overtone with the narration for the next one, because like Chip Zdarsky is an incredibly sarcastic person to hear him speak, and so I'm wondering if we're going to have a switch with the narration. Then I would agree, Mark, wholeheartedly. Yes, the narrator is supposed to be Cates himself. But do you guys think that this is the next issue is a little bit of a play on Silent Hill?
I don't know, but look at the missing sign. Look under Chip Zdarsky's name. It says AKA
Steve Murray.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who
the deal with that is.
Isn't that a character from his Sex and Criminals or Sex Criminals
I'm not sure.
image storyline that he did there 4 or 5 years ago? I still think he gets the odd one-off
I
book.
know of it, but I don't know anything about it, so I couldn't tell you.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it has something to do with Sex Criminals. I might be wrong. If there's someone in the chat that knows what that's in reference to, please post something.
I think we outlived our chat, so
Yeah.
It happens.
yeah, I'm really excited. Like, one, I know a lot of people were talking about like jumping off after this first arc ends, and like, I don't know, Chip Zdarsky, I'm more interested than ever. Like, this is more of a jumping on point if you ask me. Like, if you were like, oh, I'm not that into Kate's, like Zdarsky's like a sell. I don't know who doesn't like him. So, I'm really interested to see like how the book is going to change. What's going to be different about Chip versus Kate, and like, are we still going to have these characters moving through here? Are we still going to be following the same story, or is it going to be something like drastically different? And like, how are the tones going to change and things like that? So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they handle this.
And normally you have to wait on like reboots and stuff like that for good jumping on points, but writer changes are really the best jumping on point.
Yeah.
And there's really no better example of that
Yes.
than Superman.
Nailed it.
Fire. He is on fire.
Dude.
As Philip Kennedy Johnson
He even
is
caught
writing
me
the
off
most
guard.
solid Superman story I have read in years.
Mark, blow up that cover. That cover actually deserves a little bit of praise. That action cover. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's not flying up. He's like this flying forward. It's the
Right.
perspective of someone standing down looking up at him. And good old cover A's, man. Tell you what, I love them. Yeah, most of the time I do enjoy the art on the B's better, but not $1 better.
Yeah. But
I think Freaky Louie would unsubscribe me if I bought all B covers. But the B cover definitely won in this one. I actually used it as a thumbnail earlier in the week. That's gorgeous.
yeah.
And it's spot on with what's
actually-
going on with the writing.
that particular issue, that's definitely where the cover A is incredibly well done, and obviously the cover B is a masterwork, but it doesn't take away from the cover A. The cover A is still an incredible piece of work as well.
So we got a new artist on it now. Like we're kind of setting off on the actual, kind of like we were just talking about with Batman. Now that we've had a couple of issues, I feel like this is the start of an actual story arc. This is the start of the first story arc. Philip Kennedy Johnson took 2 issues of Superman and 1 issue of Action to kind of set the tone and pace of his Superman, his Jonathan. What should you be looking at in his stories moving forward? Of course, there's going to be story content going on, but where is the heart of his characters? And he established that very, very well. And this book, after having that established, I give this book a solid 10 out of 10 for a random issue of Action Comics that is not supposed to be leading into a mega event or a crossover. This was a perfectly flawless written comic book. It delivered on every aspect.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I've always been, pretty down on filler content, but like if you read the first like what 1 Action and 2 Superman or whatever, like that was kind of filler content in retrospect, but they were extremely well done at the same time. But it's brilliant that like if you just want to read Superman, like just start here. Literally, you can just start here. All you need to know is like Jonathan is alive and he's kind of taking the mantle, and Clark is kind of concerned about what the future holds for him. And like you get all that in this book, and then it sets up like where this arc is headed. So if you feel like, oh, well, I haven't been reading since he started, like don't even worry about it. Just start there. Go grab 1030. It came out this week, and just get on board because this was amazing.
And that's coming from somebody who's not a Superman guy.
Yeah. Yeah, other than like Christopher Reeve Superman, like I've never really been that into Superman, but this book was incredible. I mean, all of Philip Kennedy Johnson's Superman stuff so far has been great, but it was one of those things where I was like, I'm in until it gets bad, and like this issue kind of told me like even if that's still the case, we're really far from it getting bad. Like
yeah, buckle up, homie.
He's got a long way to fall.
So they did a lot of great things in this, with Future State, with the backup story earlier with the Midnighter. with what they've teased. We knew that Mongol is going to be an issue, and I think Mongol, he's not an issue, blah, blah, blah. Well, it looks like he might be finally because the way Philip Kennedy Johnson's writing him. He feels like you're reading another dark side like threat level. He's a ruler of war world. He has this whole hierarchy going on. The way he draws it is grotesque, like this just dismembered physically society that he's just lording over. And this person who we don't know shows up in his chambers with a bag and just dumps out all of his kids' heads in front of him. And his little lackey's like, sees him, and Mongol's like, good job. Now they'll have no chance of usurping me in the future. Like, you're like, dang.
Oh my god, yeah. Like it just starts out with like that crazy like narration, right? It's just like, every son like seeks to overtake their father or whatever and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, I mean, that's kind of what they've been setting up. And then he drops the heads and he's like, these are all your kids' heads. I was like, what? Like, okay, this is not what I thought we were getting into right now. And he's just like, yeah, good. Now they can't take my job from me, And I was like, holy crap, like what's going on here now? This is amazing.
So we know he's planning on
Just
doing
ruthless.
something. Yeah, we know Mongol has plans for Earth coming up, and they twist on that at the end. But we go to Superman, and you see him battling a big, looks like Brainiac Lex robot, but he's really just testing himself, and they're measuring his strength levels and getting all the readings from him. And we find
Kind
out
of starts out like All-Star Superman.
Yeah, it does, because we find out that his powers are waning. We don't know if they're going to continue to weaken or to what extent. We just know that he has cause for concern, and he has to have a contingency plan for not just himself and his family, but for Earth itself, because it relies heavily on him, and he has a duty to Earth. And so we right when I read the first Superman that came out after Infinite Frontier, I messaged Ryan. I said, dude, they're going to kill Superman again. Like, I feel it. So I don't think they're going to kill Superman again, but they're clearly taking him off the board, at least for Earth. So they've created the vacuum that Jonathan's going to have to fill. And we got one of the coolest moments. Like I mentioned this before, I feel sorry for whoever has written Super Sons in the past, because Philip Kennedy Johnson just showed him how they should have done it with just 2 pages. With just 2 pages. We saw a friendship and a dynamic like we've never seen before with Damian and Jonathan talking. Damian, who's on the lam, just doing him. His family can't find him, but they still have time to have these conversations that matter personally to each other, because that's just how tight they are. And Jonathan makes a comment like he's not ready to see his dad go anywhere. He's not ready to be Superman. He doesn't want to do it. And Damian basically said, dude, wake up. That's why you're here. You don't have a choice. That's who you are. Get ready. And I'm just like,
yes. And like the content of that conversation alone doesn't even quite convey everything as much as how well placed that scene is, because you get the scene right before that of Superman of Clark being like, yeah, dude, like you know, Batman's like, yeah, you need to start thinking about the future and what the contingency here is. And he's talking about like, Jonathan's a great kid, and he's really coming into his own, but he don't think he's quite ready. And then you cut to a scene of Jonathan and Damian there, and Jonathan's like, I'm not ready. Like, I'm not ready to do this. And then you go that scene to a scene of like Superman, of Clark having to call in the cavalry, and like Jonathan's there though. Like, he thinks he's not ready, but in that moment he proves that he's ready. It even kind of like surprises him in a way,
There's a big boom in the sky. Superman's by himself, and he sees these ships coming in and thinks an invasion's happening. And he calls out, John, Kara, Connor, whichever of you can hear my voice, we have a situation. And you turn the page, and he's already there. Arms back, head up, flying side by side with his dad. No, nothing necessary. He is there. And like when you're reading it, like Ryan mentioned before, when you turn the page and he's there, just your subconscious just goes boom, like you heard him show up.
You could hear him just like snap in, just
it's so good. It was so good.
And then right behind that, you get this great scene of like Clark really becoming a leader in the moment and just like being like this kind of like master strategist, and it just, I think we had talked about it before, how like, people kind of sleep on how smart Superman is, and like
Yes.
this scene really just played to his intelligence as a tactician. It was awesome.
Hmm.
So they get to that armada coming in, and they find out it was a ship being attacked by the ones behind it. It looked like, right? And Superman rips open the hole, and they find some Kryptonian speaking like ancient Kryptonian inside. Two of them. One of them's holding a sword with chains on the wrist. The other one's standing there with chains on the wrist. So it looks like they might be escapees on the run. We don't know.
Yeah.
That's
That's kind of how I took it. Is like they're probably like gladiators on War World or something, and they saw this as an opportunity to escape. Probably got strength when they entered Earth's atmosphere or whatever.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that, but yeah. So then we get the Midnight backup story, which was weird. Like the whole Midnighter backup stuff has been weird, but great. And this one was just grotesque. Watching the dude
Yeah.
his early experiments on stuff, like putting humans on robot bodies and messing with their face while they're just tearing up but can't make a sound. It was
Yeah.
gross.
Torture porn.
It was so
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah, it was really hard to like read all of that, but at the same time, like I really like this Midnighter stuff. Like it's just
This
it's
one
crazy,
didn't
it's
deliver.
twisted, it's like demented, but I don't know, it's just really intriguing. I want to see where it all goes.
Chris, we've been on Cloud 9 here. Did you get a chance to read Action yet?
Not yet.
Okay, that
Not
made
yet.
sense. I
But
was wondering why.
I have seen some interiors for it, but I haven't gotten to read or put it all together properly. But yeah, I pretty much guessed what was going to happen, and you guys just reaffirmed everything I was going to guess. But yeah,
It's coming.
except for the fact that the armada that showed up was, a chase. I thought it was they were all showing up to invade Earth. I didn't realize that there was multiple ships chasing one.
Yeah. Well, they just don't realize it to the very last panel they drop it on you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Y'all got any other books from this week you want to spotlight? We've been going for like an hour and a half straight on just books, but that's all I got.
I was trying to think. I've read a lot of DC this week. There wasn't a ton of indies. I still haven't got around to Shadow Man.
We could talk about the best thing that is featured in this book. Well, besides the cover, we could talk about the fact that Frank Castle has returned to the Marvel Universe. And I mean that just in general, because as we all know, the Punisher has been removed in the last little while from appearing in comic books altogether. And we do have a modern Frank Castle make an appearance on a couple pages of this book. And this book is, I don't want to say it's confusing, but it's a book that jumps all over recent events of the last 50 to 60 years. Like I said, we do have the return of Frank Castle, and I am not joking, and he's armed to the teeth, as you would hope the Punisher would be whenever he's on the prowl in Manhattan. But it's an interesting read. It is the type of story where we have one man just basically floating around New York City, and he's watching a bunch of different things happen. Spider-Man takes on the Vulture, and he makes a reference, or pardon me, he has his parents with him, and his father makes a reference that he calls the Vulture the old buzzard or whatever, and then the man who's following the story corrects his dad and says, "Oh, Dad, that's the Spider-Man who's facing Spider-Man." And then again, we do have the Punisher attacking what seems to be a underground Asian club and being slightly sarcastic and ripping holes through everybody. It does have, like I said, time jumps from different periods, like pre-Vietnam War in Indonesia, and then 12 years ago, 10 years ago, 7 years ago, where they have different Marvel characters facing different villains. But it's basically the storyline that takes place right now in New York City, where we get the longest part of the story, where we get to see, like I said, Spider-Man take on the Vulture and Punisher dealing with this Asian crew. And that's basically it. It's nothing to write home about. I wouldn't even call it a good starting point. It's just the Punisher coming back home.
Is it an anthology style book?
It presents that way, but I don't know if I don't know if they're going to be able to maintain that type of that type of storyline. But it is what it is. I don't know if I'll actually pick up issue number 2, to be honest with you. It may have to be a super fire Ross cover, because I'm presuming anytime that we have Marvel or Marvel somehow wrapped up into a title, we are going to have Alex Ross do the covers. And it's not as bad as Nonstop Spider-Man, but it's nothing to write home about.
Pretty much every review of that book that I've heard so far is exactly that. They're like, it wasn't terrible, but it's really messy.
It's you know what else was really messy?
Here we go.
Boom.
Okay, so normally I would never jump in front of Mark this way, but I need to let everyone know, and Ryan, yourself, and everyone who's watching. I messaged Jason Slaughter 503 and Mark in a chat, and I just said, Invincible is the greatest show. And Mark's response was this: one word, Subway. And I'm just like, all right. As soon as I read it, I'm like, this is how I'm going to set up Invincible when we talk about it at week's end. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the greatest cartoon superhero show that was ever created. This particular episode, this particular series, I cannot wait for season 2 and season 3. My God, if my dad ever beat me like that, I would never swear. I would never curse. I would never look cross at anybody. But my God, like, what an epic, and God rest Chicago. Like, goodbye, Chicago. Like, one of my favorite cities of all time. But yeah, guys, I know I'm trailing off here, but what a great episode. I know that we've been struggling with WandaVision. I know that we were struggling with Falcon Winter Soldier, and that we couldn't always agree on everything. But I think wholeheartedly we can agree this was a fantastic episode. God bless Robert Kirkman for bringing Invincible to us.
Fucking Tyler. Oh my God. Yeah, I thought it was awesome. I don't know if you guys follow Wednesday Pull List, but the memes they have been posting is just like absolutely incredible. Like they had the one the one where he's like Batman before he asks any questions from a petty thief or whatever, and then it's just like the gif of
pure Frank Miller punches too, right? Yeah.
Right. Oh my God. Yeah, this episode was like the perfect wrap up. I love how great like the action and all of that was, but then also just like the montage and all of those things, like I thought it not only was it just like an awesome episode, but it was a perfect cap to the season.
Yeah. I first was questioning the idea of them casting J.K. Simmons as Omni-Man, and I kept thinking, am I really going to like it if we get a turn in the character? Am I really going to think that he's this villainous? Well, I was wrong. J.K. Simmons, I thought, as a voice actor, delivered beautifully, and the whole portion where, yeah, I think of your mom more like a pet. It's just like,
oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was rough.
I was afterwards. I actually watched it twice over. I kind of thought, like, did J.K. Simmons like kind of stop and say, like, I hope my wife doesn't watch this or something? Like my God, like, man, like, talk about like just a super villain. Like, talk about like a 90-degree, 180-degree turn. Just wonderful, and it went on for so long. I understand it was a long episode, but that Mark and Dad battle that went on for like half an hour.
Yeah.
And the carnage and the collateral damage. My God, the United States is like the whole eastern seaboard, and every mountain range on the other side of the planet is just gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I
then,
have to
like I
say,
said,
like,
and then the subway.
yeah. I mean, my thing with J.K. Simmons, like, as an actor, like, he's absolutely incredible, but his live action performances tend to be, like, extremely dynamic. And so him playing Omni-Man was like really great because of how subdued he always was. Like, he was always kind of in control of himself throughout the whole series, you know? And so, like, J.K. Simmons always being like this very dynamic
Brash.
character, like
Yes.
very extreme, you know? And
Yes.
to listen to him be so like perfectly subdued, like even when he was angry, he was still like pretty calm and in control. But then like to really get that full J.K. Simmons as he came unhinged in this last episode was just perfect, you know, like again, just a perfect way to kind of cap that character and really give us the J.K. Simmons we know.
Yeah, and you're right. It was very much like his performance in Oz, where in the first couple seasons, a very calm, collected, devious, mastermind type of character, and then near the end of the series, Oz, he's just this flamboyant villain that's very brash, in the face, not afraid of violence. And they like I said, I thought maybe it was a wrong cast. Boy, was it wrong casting, but man, was I wrong. J.K. Simmons delivered, and that whole scene where in the sky where Omni-Man is just punching Mark back and forth. It's like he's playing catch with himself. He'd hit him, and then he'd fly around to the other
Yeah.
side and hit him as he came back away and hit back another direction. And my God, it was just so
Brutal.
delicious. It was
Yeah.
all
just
of the action,
fantastic.
all the fighting was consistently really good. Sorry, Steve, I don't know how long you've been sitting there. I got people wanting to order shirts. And,
Yeah.
I was
One of us
messaging.
is not like the other.
I didn't have time to grab my shirt. I had to put my
You,
kids.
you didn't get the memo?
I just
Yeah,
did.
he's got one.
I have one. Yes,
It better not have sleeves on it, though.
honestly, I have no idea where it's at. I think it's in the laundry right now, if I'm being honest.
So real quick with Invincible, what really got me was there was a couple of key moments. Obviously, like one of the defining moments which just really showed you just we've seen him Omni-Man do crazy stuff, but grabbing your son and holding him up in front of a train and just using him to kill people. So like the last thing that all of these
crazy.
people see is Invincible. They're literally splattering against him, and he's getting that. Really just trying to drive home that level of what a Viltrumite is capable and willing to do. Just that right there. But this is it. And Tyler must have known it was coming because this was the defining moment of the entire series so far. Was when he's just beating him down to an inch of his actual life, and he says, "In 50 years, or no, he said in 500 years from now, what will you have?" And he just says, "You. I'll have you, Dad." And that was it. Like that broke me. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what Omni-Man does. He's not going to stop fighting for Earth. It doesn't matter what Omni-Man does. He's not going to stop fighting for his dad. And in that moment, he showed Omni-Man how human he really is. And it broke just enough of him to stop and save the planet for that moment because it's not over. It was just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, the character turns were incredible in this. I mean, in the series in general, but I mean, this episode really like finally showed us who Omni-Man really is, but also broke who that was. You know, like just as we really got to know him, now he's also a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. So it was cool getting an actual history of their planet. What did you think of that, Steve? The whole just we're going to kill everyone.
I thought the finale was excellent. Honestly, the whole season was amazing, and I do agree. I was like, J.K. Simmons is a bad guy. I can't deal with that. No, he killed it. Absolutely killed it. And I do think. I mean, I don't know everything about Invincible and all that. I do think we'll probably get something from the Viltrumites, probably like a Viltrumite war, probably coming up in season 3, if I had to take a guess. Because I think season 2 they'll go in another direction, just kind of like how the Flashes recently they gone away from speedsters. But I do think maybe season 3 or season 4 we'll get some more Viltrumites coming to Earth to try to take over. So who knows though? I don't know anything about it, but I was I thought the train scene was amazing. The whole
Yeah.
finale just overall was epic.
Now I'm glad that I didn't read the books before this. Like I wouldn't be upset if I
Sure.
did, but I'm glad that this is my first exposure to it. I don't see any of it coming.
Yep. I just wanted to stop in real quick though. I do have to get ready for bed, but I wanted to hop in since it was week's end, and I appreciate you always coming on my channel. You're doing a giveaway on Wednesday, right?
Yes, Wednesday is the day, 9
I'll
p.m.
be there, and I'll be giving away because I have a couple extras, not 9.8 copies. I'll be giving an extra one of these away, along with some other books as well. So,
Boom.
Wednesday.
Claim.
For those that don't know, that's the Burke Family 54 variant
It
for
is.
Mighty Morphin issue number 5, isn't it?
4.
4.
Fire.
There we go. All right, you guys have a good night. We'll see you guys later, and we'll see you. It's morphin time. Later.
Take it easy.
Yeah, speaking to the comics, like that's kind of my thing is like I want I either want to be ahead or way behind, And so for me, like whenever it was coming out, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to start reading Invincible now," or like I went to the LCS and it's just like volume 1 everywhere, and I'm like, "Yeah, like if I had read this way before the show, then that would have been cool." But at this point, like I want to wait until at least this first season's done. Maybe I'll read it in the downtime, but honestly, I'll probably just wait till the show is done, and then
I would
everything will
recommend
be dirt
asking
cheap, and
Tyler
I can
about
really
that.
read it then.
Yeah.
I've asked Tyler how close it is to the comics, and he says what they're doing is comic accurate, but not necessarily in the same order. So I wouldn't even want to touch that book
Right.
Mhm.
anytime
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah,
I thoroughly enjoy just being surprised week after week.
Yeah.
And like the less I know, the better.
Yeah.
Normally I try to learn as much as I can going into a movie or into the series. The only 2 recent franchises that I've had no idea about was Invincible, or as I like to call it right now, Not So Invincible, and The Boys. So yeah, and you know what? I'm with you guys. Like
disclaimer.
I am not going to read anything to do with Invincible. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the performances and the story
Mhm.
that they're giving us.
What was the disclaimer for? I missed it.
The Boys. That's a Dynamite property. I don't mess with Dynamite.
Dynamite's owned by who?
Couple of Comics Gate sympathizers.
Really? But
Yeah.
is Garth Ennis a part of that whole thing too then?
No, he seems to have escaped any criticism or connections to all of that. But the people that run Dynamite, they employ Comics Gate artists to do their covers and stuff knowingly. They acknowledge that they do this. So
Frig.
yeah. So that's I mean one of the reasons that I have not watched The Boys is because it's connected to Dynamite, and I also have a big issue with their business model. Like they release like 2 or 3 comic books a month, but they have like 47 covers every week, and maybe 2 of those have some
Over-sexualized.
clothes on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's a terrible business model. I'm not down for that. So
Well, I'm
I
not
like
going to
Invincible.
apologize for the John Jang covers that are going to be showing up in the mail tomorrow.
He doesn't do Vampirella, does he?
No, but he's got
No.
these amazing Homelander exclusives that he did,
Oh, right.
and I'm not going to not support an Asian American comic artist because of Comicsgate's connections and the 5 Shades of Kevin Bacon to it, because that sounds actually the opposite,
Well, I could say the same thing about The Boys, because The Boys is a Canadian-made production that's filmed here in Ontario. Employs a lot of Ontarians and Canadians. So, but yeah, Comicsgate, it's a hard one for me to get my nose around. I got to be honest. But yeah, like
yeah,
if you find a reason to support something and it thoroughly that you can feel good behind and put your heart into it, like I know that you're a big fan of John Jang and that you know the man personally, and of course I want to try and support something that's manufactured here, in my home province and employs a lot of people. But damn, Comicsgate's a big one to get is a big one to get around. I got to be honest with you, man. But yeah,
and that's my thing. Like if I had read The Boys,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. If I had like read The Boys or watched it without knowing that, then like I would probably be able to kind of step around it. But I mean, I don't know. For years ago, Dynamite kind of rubbed me wrong with the way that they just want to like put together these like over sexualized covers and stuff. So I've never really cared for their company in the first place. And then once all of that stuff came out, I was like, that's just all that much more reason not to even
They
dip my
completely
toe.
changed direction too, because if you go back 15 years ago, they were crushing it with all the pulp era heroes. They had like
Absolutely.
Flash Gordon title
Yep.
going. They had the Spider. They had the Shadow.
Yep.
They had
Don't they do
Green
the
Hornet.
007 books?
I don't know if they do now, but they had all the pulp era heroes, and then they're doing Kirby's new Genesis. The new Genesis stuff, like with Captain Victory and the Silver, what's his name, and they were doing all kinds of cool stuff. And then fast forward, they did John Carter books, which were fantastic. And then you fast forward to now, they just took Deja Thoris out of John Carter because she's drawn like a Frank Frazetta princess, and they just kept her.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
I think for some reason, Ryan, I think Boom might be getting James Bond. I might be
really?
wrong, but I thought I
It
thought I
wouldn't
saw
surprise
somewhere
me. That sounds like the kind of property they would pick up.
Well,
Yeah.
if it's gonna be Dynamite, it's just gonna be money penny covers. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well-
or Bond with a bunch of women lying around him, right? But yeah.
Well, and I wonder like how much of that, I don't know, like it doesn't seem like it would be all money driven, but I feel like there's a point where they just like started making a lot of money by like having sexualized covers, and they kind of like fell victim to their own success because you can even look at Alterna comics, they came out printing on like newsprint, like old school style comics, and they were doing okay in the market, but then like these comics gators like started supporting them real hard, and like they started to really make some money. And then like the owner of Alterna Comics came out and was like, basically acknowledged that there's a lot of Comics Gate people that buy Alterna Comics, but it supports their business, so they're okay with that. And that's when a lot of people in the community turned against Alterna. So it makes me wonder about Dynamite, if they didn't just become victims of their own success with the sexualized covers, and because the Comics Gate, they have like this really strong community. And so they rally around each other. If one of their artists gets picked up to do a cover, every single person in that community is going to go buy that cover so that they make a ton of money. So that's what makes it so easy for them to rally around being okay with employing bad people, I feel like that's kind of where Warner Brothers has been with Joss Whedon. Like, he's got a show on HBO right now. Why? After everything that went down, why would Warner Brothers give him a show? Because people tune in. They knew they would make money on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. I saw the commercial for it. It's something that
I heard it's not even that good.
Yeah, it's probably something that I wouldn't even been necessarily drawn to begin with. But, dude, after seeing the Snyder Cut, it's just a simple math equation. The Justice League movie came out. Ray Fisher made the accusations. The Snyder Cut, there's your evidence. You don't need anything else to see that everything that was taken out was the heart and soul of the movie. That was Ray Fisher.
Yeah.
Like that's all you need.
Yeah. And it sucks because like I'm a huge Firefly fan. Like I love Joss Whedon's previous works. I hear his X-Men stuff was amazing.
His
People love
Astonishing
that.
X-Men was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, like Buffy, Angel, Firefly. I mean, come on, the dude did some great work, but like
The first Avengers.
whew, yeah.
Except for that cap suit, but yeah.
The second
I
Avengers.
mean, he let us down with
I
Age of
enjoyed.
Ultron, but
I wasn't let down with that.
I
John
didn't
James
mind it.
designed the Hulkbuster. I'm good with
Yeah.
it.
But
okay.
yeah, it turns out he's just not a nice guy.
Yeah.
And then now
He's a
you're
shit
hearing stuff
human.
about Jeff Johns as well, the whole Ray Fisher thing. And it's sad because we actually haven't seen Ray Fisher do much outside of True Detective afterwards, right?
Mhm.
It was more of a cameo as a young son in the tail end of the True Detective miniseries that was on HBO last year or maybe the year before. Yeah.
I just saw the first 2 seasons of that.
But yeah, the third one is I say probably the best one. The second one was
Oh,
kind of
really?
the second one was just kind of meh, but the third
Yeah,
one,
the second one was mid, but I will say, what's his name? Vince Vaughn.
yes,
Vince Vaughn?
plays
Yeah.
a good villain.
Oh my god, he was so good in that, and I have
Yeah.
always hated that guy. Like, I find him very annoying the way he usually talks and stuff, but he was so good. Like,
yeah.
good lord, that
Th-
deserved an award.
Season 3 stars, forgive me if I pronounce his name wrong, Mahershala Ali, the man who's going to be playing Blade in the new Blade movies. I believe he's won 2 Oscars now. Anyways, he stars in True Detective, and it's set back 20-25 years, and it's just a case that haunts him through his entire life, and he starts to figure it all out later in life, but at this point he's suffering from the disease where you start losing your memory. I'm sorry.
PTSD. Oh, Alzheimer's.
Yeah, he's starting to suffer from Alzheimer's, and that's when we're introduced to Ray Fisher as his son that tries to help him through his daily activities, and it has just a fantastic climactic final episode where the son helps the father, and I think the son starts to put 2 and 2 together because his father doesn't have the ability anymore in regards to the case. So if you guys haven't seen it and you guys want to binge watch a show one rainy day or something, check out True Detective season 3.
Yeah.
It's worth it. It's worth
I
it.
need to watch that.
Yeah, HBO does generally do good stuff.
Yeah. I really loved that first season, and then the second one had some great characters, but the story was just like so muddy and rough, you know.
Yeah.
But and that's probably most of why I didn't watch the third one. But yeah, I'll definitely check it out because that sounds really cool. Plus, that's one thing I did say. Like Ray Fisher, the only thing I really know him from, to be honest, is Justice League. So it's hard for me to judge how truly great his performance is in, you know, Zack Snyder's Justice League whenever that's the only performance I have to compare it to. So that'll be worth watching just to see that.
Facts.
You want to start that over, Chris? Sounds like C-List E-Man just showed up, so he needs to know.
Season 2 was meh. Season 3, I felt, was better than season 1 and season 2 put together.
Ain't that the truth?
Based on the performance of Mahershala Ali, again, I hope I say that young
What's
man's
his name?
name.
Tyler just gave you a pronunciation. Mahershala.
Okay, yes. Either way, he's won 2 Oscars. He's going to be Blade in the new MCU, and he's already, I believe, he was Copperhead in Luke Cage in season 1, and he was actually really good in that, I thought. But yeah.
I'm really interested to see the Blade movie because, like, I don't know, like I thought Wesley Snipes was a great Blade. Like that was awesome and all that, and those movies were really cool, especially as like early comic book movies.
Yes.
Even though they almost went out of their way to make that not a connection, but it was the early days of comic book movies, you know, and so that was great and all, but like I really have no interest in like trying to tie that into this. Like, and I know I'm the outlier. I know everybody wants every little thing that's ever happened in the history of our world to like go into these movies, but like I don't want the Fox X-Men stuff to show up. Like, throw that crap out. Let's just do this right, you know? And I don't really need Wesley Snipes to show up as like some kind of Blade cameo or something. Like, just make a great movie. Like, I'm so tired of them trying to Easter egg everything before they even make a good movie, you know?
Yeah.
Like, let's just focus on that.
I'm with you. I get that a lot of people are still hung up on Hugh Jackman's performance as Wolverine for the last 15, 20 years, but let's just take all of that. I want to see
somebody do something different with that character
and throw it away. Go get an unknown actor the same way that Hugh Jackman at the beginning of his career when he got the Wolverine title was
Jackman
essential.
Would fit perfectly as Wolverine in a Deadpool 3. That would make sense though. That would be the
one way I
exception.
could see that working.
The exception to the rule because they've been playing with that for the other 2 movies. He needs to appear in one. Like, I mean, but that's completely different than the regular format movie. You know, that's where it would actually be appropriate.
Yeah, that's the one place I would be cool with it.
I'm very excited to see if they can make lightning in a bottle all over again with a fantastic Wolverine actor. And no matter who it is, I promise you, if they do good as Wolverine, they will not do what Hugh Jackman did and continue to have a career everywhere else he decides to have a career. Because that is one of the most versatile actors in Hollywood.
Oh,
performers. Like
Yeah.
Dude,
the man can do
role
it all,
in,
right? Let's be honest. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What's the uh Les Miserables? Like,
Les
dude can
Miserables?
sing and
Mhm.
everything.
The
Yeah, there
greatest show.
you go.
He got his start. He got founded from doing like Oklahoma or something when he was really
Yeah.
young.
Yep.
He's fantastic.
Yep.
He does like serious dramas, you know. He does
Broadway,
Broadway. Yeah,
he's
he just
very
does it all.
versatile. Yeah.
He's one of those actors when you see him on screen, it doesn't matter what he's doing, he's enjoyable to watch. You know, he's like The Rock. The Rock does not have to have like an Oscar-winning performance in a good movie or anything just to be entertaining and enjoyable presence on screen. You know, he's such a good guy off screen.
Yes.
Whenever you see him, he's like just so positive and upbeat and
Yep.
just so happy. Like that's infectious. And when you see him
Yes.
on screen, you're like, dude, yeah, jump out of that airplane that's crashing with no parachute with a giant monkey and go save the city. Because Rampage now makes sense because The Rock is in it.
But
It was perfect.
and let's
was so
admit it,
fun.
guys. Like how great is the fake battle between Ryan Reynolds and him? Like
perfect.
the
Yeah.
whole social media thing, like bashing Aviation Gin, bashing that coffee company Hugh Jackman does, but in the end, you know that they're just great guys, and or at least you hope they hang out together, and that their kids play together, and that. But yeah, I agree. Deadpool and Wolverine and Deadpool 3, that would be fantastic to do. Even
Yeah.
if somehow then like a Doctor Strange portal were to open up and they pluck out Deadpool and he's in a different universe, whatever. But yeah, the two of them have great chemistry together, and it would be great to see them as superheroes, battling it out in Deadpool. And
Yeah.
but
Well, I mean, in my honest opinion on Deadpool is like separate universe. Do not. I don't know. I just don't see how Deadpool is going to fit into the MCU, and I would be
He's
fine
not.
with Deadpool just
Yeah.
being something of his own nature.
But he doesn't fit in, and that's how he fits in, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, but I don't know.
you know
I'm
it's
sure
going to
there's
be
like
something
smarter
like they
people
just
than me
pull
making it
them out,
work,
right?
but like
Yeah.
to me, like what's great about Deadpool, the movies at least so far, is like how unhinged it all is, and I don't know. Disney's just not going to let that happen in the MCU. Like they might let Deadpool 3 be what Deadpool 1 and 2 was, which I still have a lot of questions about that. They might, but whenever he crosses over into the rest of the MCU, there's no way he's going to be standing next to Spider-Man cutting people in half and dropping F-bombs. Like they're not going to let it happen, and I don't know. I kind of like the unhinged nature of Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
Also, everybody's like, everything that's ever happened before needs to be in these movies. Well, and people are even like, oh, yeah, Charlie Cox is Daredevil, which that would be great. I like Charlie Cox as Daredevil, but why aren't people asking for Ben Affleck to show up if they want everybody else so bad? Like,
He's not part of the MCU,
he was Daredevil.
but not in the
If
MCU.
we're going to pull every character that's ever been played on screen, like, go ahead, bring him in. Let's do it all fair.
Does that mean then we could possibly have Hannibal King face off against Deadpool?
That'd be cool.
Ryan Reynolds looking at Ryan Reynolds.
Right?
You've already brought in. They've already done both Ryan Reynolds Deadpools in the Deadpool movie from the X-Men Origin Wolverine. So who knows?
Right. And the actor Ryan Reynolds reading Green Lantern.
Yeah. What is up, Justin? Glad you can make it this right to tail in here because it's 11:30 on the dot. I'm calling it. I gotta go to bed, and I'll sit here and ramble all night. So instead of starting the longest goodbye in history, just let y'all go ahead and plug your channels real quick.
Go ahead, Ryan.
All right. Okay. Well, let me do the 30-minute plug here. All right.
Good night, everybody.
Like Mark's just gonna drop out. It's gonna be like a Burke family chat stream. Like everybody leaves. It's just me and Mark still there.
Yeah, I'll just leave it playing all night.
Yeah, I'm gonna be dropping new comic book day video tomorrow. Tuesday, I have a new interview coming out. Wednesday is probably going to be a unboxing mail call sort of thing because I made the biggest mistake that anybody can make. I knew for a long time I should not order any toys because that is a slippery slope. So now I'm going to open the first toy I've ordered and hope that I don't fall into the slippery slope. So tune in Wednesday and stare me off, try to talk me off this slippery precipice as I unbox this content.
I want to start sending you links to awesome deals on the other ones in the series.
I just got a text from your wallet, and it's just nothing but curse words.
It's just a bunch of weird symbols.
Like,
so
anyway.
yeah, check me out. I'm on YouTube. New Guy, pretty much all of my social media and everything. Just search for New Guy, NUEXGUY, and I should pop up.
Very cool.
Look for his hairy face in the orange circle.
Somebody watches my content.
Yesterday I released an AOK video from Chip Getler. He wrote me a beautiful little note and sent me 2 fantastic comic books. If you haven't checked out that video, everyone, please take just a few moments of your time and take a look at the books and listen to the note that Chip sent me. Today, myself and Mark released 2 Cool Guys 2 Hot Picks on my channel, where we both made 2 fantastic choices. I'm sure Ryan would agree for this new upcoming comic book day. Tomorrow, I'll be releasing a mystery box, another mystery box Monday video, where the mystery box is actually a prize that I won from another YouTube channel. This Wednesday, it'll be for my car, new comic book day. Yes. And later this week, I'll be having an unboxing from Gary B, the contest that I won for his mastermind creation of, my God, I'm drawing a blank. The Grow Together movement. Obviously, it's past my bedtime. And Saturday, I'll be going live with Rob not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, I'll be going live with Rob on Rob's Fat Stacko Comics. And then next Sunday, I'll be here with my 2 friends and maybe some more at week's end.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be it's already in the chamber, but tomorrow a unboxing / semi rant video. It's not really a rant, but how to definitely calling
somebody
out.
didn't put pull tabs.
Close.
Pull tabs are life.
Pull tabs are life around here, but it's another shipping issue for sure. And when you're dealing in hard to find, like, it's like, I'm not one to complain. I'm not even probably going to say anything to him because I don't care enough.
I was literally about to say this should be cool because like you never rail against anything, so like you're always so optimistic.
Yeah, and I present it optimistically. I'll tell you that. Like my nature shines through. I promise.
He's like, "Oh, look at this! It's so awesome, isn't it? They completely destroyed it! Yay!"
Yeah. I have a one of a kind now. Thanks, guys, because of your absolutely crappy packaging. And yeah, I'm going to be sure to share it out and hope that a lot of people don't deal with this company if that's the direction that the company decides to go in, at least in this format. But it was completely something unexpected from a bigger company. But I was recommended that I could find something there. I found it there. I ordered it. I don't regret ordering it. I actually enjoyed pointing out crappy packaging when it happens because I think people need to be more aware of it. And if just one person thinks because they see this, maybe I shouldn't ship a book like that. Maybe I should reach out and ask somebody who ships books how I should ship books. Maybe they'll get a better idea on it. But it was fun all the same.
This is turning into the Batman versus Superman trailer.
Yeah, a little bit. But then Tuesday, I don't know what time I'm going to go live. It'll be at some point around lunchtime. I do have to take my daughter to the orthodontist at like 2:45 in real time. Ryan, that's like 1:45 or 3:45 in your time. Who knows? But
big window there.
Yeah, I'm like the cable company. I'll be there promptly between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Be ready.
With the sorry we missed you notice.
Yeah. But y'all go live that. Then Wednesday is the 700 subscriber live giveaway. So if you haven't already entered, be sure to do that before Wednesday because there's a lot of good prizes. I did check the good old YouTube, and I'm 4 subscribers away from adding the second slab to the giveaway, as well as Steve from Burt Family 54 Comics will be on there hanging out, and he's got some books that he's going to be throwing into the hat, and as well as, of course, you guys are more than welcome to hop on and hang out and celebrate with me, and just probably just ramble on about nothing. It's what I like to do.
Sweet.
Thanks for
Y'all
watching,
good?
everybody.
Suck
waiting.
it. Goodbyes. So, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.